At Turner Field in Atlanta, the New York Mets play the Atlanta Braves. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by People's United Bank Wealth Management, using their know-how to plan for your future. By your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealers on the web at MBUSA.com. By StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. By Geico, the #1 insurer in the New York market. And by Fidelis Care, quality health coverage. It's our mission. Well, a week and a half ago, the Mets took off from LaGuardia, heading for a long road trip. They started in South Florida. Things didn't go so well there, and the Mets' lead shrunk to 4 games, but things went great in our nation's capital. And so far, perfect in Atlanta. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Turner Field. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you today as the Mets close out their road trip. They're 7-2 in their first 9 games of the trip, and that 4-game lead has expanded to 9.5. The Mets' magic number is down to 12, and they go for a 4-game sweep of the Braves. And the name on everybody's lips is Yoenis Cespedes. Andrelton Simmons, the Braves shortstop, called him Superman last night.
Well, what he's doing is, #1, historic for the Mets here in this 2-month push in the Met uniform. I have never seen anybody do what he has done with the bat, on the bases, in the field. He has done everything. And his hits, his home runs, his extra base hits, phenomenal. But they've been clutch when the Mets have needed late in ball games. He's delivered with the home run, the extra base hit. He has just been phenomenal and a godsend for the Mets, obviously.
16 home runs in the last 29 games. No Met has ever done that in a 29-game span. So Yoenis Cespedes has just been off the charts. Now, he's going to be out of the lineup today as Terry Collins continues to rest some of his regulars. Only the second game Cespedes hasn't started since he's been here. On the mound for the Mets will be John Neese, and he's got to get out of a big rut that he's been in.
Well, his last 4 starts have not been good, and his last 3 starts, he's been what he always has trouble with, giving up that big inning. 3 5-run innings in his last 3 starts. He's pitched well against the Braves this year. This is his 3rd start. ERA below 2 and a 1-0 record.
And the Braves will counter with another rookie starter. September call-up Ryan Weber.
Well, he pitched in AA, AAA this year. Had 29 relief appearances at 9 starts. So they don't look for him to go deep in this ball game. This is his 2nd major league start. You saw the numbers in his 1st start where he suffered a loss. So we'll see if the Mets can keep the ball rolling here with a lot of guys getting a rest today.
Mets have won 6 straight. They go for number 7 today. The Mets and the Braves. All the action coming your way on a sunny day at Turner Field. Now your team can collaborate at a whole new level with video walls from Prism. Learn how at prism.com. By Citi, proud partner of the New York Mets. And by Mr. Softy, go visit your certified vendor Mr. Softy truck in your local neighborhood. Friday, October 2nd is Free Shirt Friday at Citi Field, where the Mets take on the Washington Nationals. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets Know Your Roots t-shirt courtesy of Avoderm and Nylabone. For tickets, visit Mets.com/FreeShirtFridays. Time for your T-Mobile Data Strong Fan of the Game photo. And Mike Lozito sends in this gorgeous little girl. The Mets will take on the Braves. Boy, could they use a slugger like Hank Aaron these days. First pitch coming right up. Juan Uribe has started third, so David Wright is off, and Yoenis Cespedes is off, and Travis d'Arnaud is off. Kevin Plawecki behind the plate. And Ryan Weber makes his second big league start for the Braves.
Well, like I said, his September call up here, kind of a tryout camp for this Braves team. We're really playing the season out. They're hoping not to lose 100 ball games. He got 87 losses on the year. He's in relief majority of the time in the minor leagues this year. Only 9 starts. And we'll take a look at the Brave defense, and that's a Coors Light special for you. Adonis Garcia in left gets the start against the left-hander, of course. And there's the infield. Daniel Castro gets the start at second base as Freddie Gonzalez gets in some right-handed bats against John Neese. And Bethencourt is behind the plate. There's Terry, skipper.
Terry is not relaxing.
No, he's not.
He is. He's got a lot to deal with coming down the stretch of this season, even with a 9.5 game lead, because of all the uncertainty about his starting pitching. And so he's going to keep pedal to the metal as long as he can until the Mets clinch this thing. Curtis Granderson takes way outside from Ryan Weber, and we are underway in Atlanta. Granderson on an incredible run of getting on base. Last 6 games, 6 hits and 10 walks. And Weber throws his first strike, 1-1. 71 degrees, crystal clear blue skies at game time in Atlanta. Unseasonably cool for the second week in September in the South. Anderson moving up the list of walk leaders in the National League, now 5th.
He's good.
Look at Votto, 127
you
walks.
Expect that from him.
Granderson lifts one to right. Nick Markakis battling the wind as it drifts back on him, and he makes the catch, one away.
And it is a breezy day here in Atlanta.
The wind is blowing left toward right, and that carried that ball a little bit for Granderson. By the way, those walk numbers were presented by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Here's Daniel Murphy, who looked a lot better at the plate last night, had a pair of doubles to vault him into 3rd place on the Mets all-time doubles list. Now just 2 behind Ed Kranepool for 2nd on that list. David Wright being far and away number 1.
Well, Daniel had a nice day at the plate yesterday. His first really good game since coming back with the quad. Got 2 hits. I love Daniel using the field. Double down the left field line, double down the right field line.
That's his game. 33 doubles on the year has vaulted him into the top 10 in the league. And the all-speed pitch from Weber in for a strike, 1-1. There's your all-time Mets doubles list with David Wright far and away at the top, but Murphy closing in on Kranepool for number 2.
And a Met organization really that hasn't had a lot of players that have had long tenure with the club, and this new young group here, they've played a lot longer. Daniel's been here forever, so moving up the list.
Duda on deck. Murphy skies one to center. Michael Bourne right there waiting. And that's the 2nd out. So 2 batters, 2 fly ball outs for Ryan Weber.
You know, you mentioned Terry with a lot on his mind, a lot to deal with. I thought his press conference today in his office, which is daily, pre-game conference, was very amusing. He was very the press was trying to get him to commit on a starting rotation, and he had fun with it. He didn't reveal anything.
And at one point, one of the writers had fun with him and said, Terry, who's starting opening day next year, DeGrom or Harvey? I thought it was hilarious.
So they were trying to get out of Terry about how many starts Harvey going to get, and Terry would not offer any information. It was very amusing.
Yeah, the one piece that Terry did offer up on Harvey that I thought was interesting. He said we have to get him to the mound more often,
right,
for shorter stints as opposed to sitting him for 12 or 15 days at a time. They need for him to be ready when the postseason arrives.
Well, I thought it was hilarious too when they asked him about Syndergaard and if he was stronger, and Terry says, I can't answer that. I've never in all my years managing given a pitcher 12 days rest.
Right. Well, this is a brave new world that he's having to cope with. I mean, Syndergaard's on an innings limit because he's already well beyond the number of innings he threw last year. Harvey, of course, everybody knows what's going on with that. They want to skip DeGrom a start. They want to skip Neese a start. Make sure those guys are fresh. Duda hits one in the air to left center. And Bourne calling and shading and making the catch. 3 fly ball outs for Ryan Weber as the Mets go down 1-2-3. John Neese takes the mound when we come back to Atlanta. pinch hit home run last night and gets the cleanup spot for the Braves, who've lost 23 of their last 26 games and try and avoid getting swept in a 4-game series.
Well, there's John Neese's numbers. He was close to getting to 500, but his last 4 starts, as we've noted, have not been good. Looking to right the ship. Terry mentioned in the post pregame. There's your Jeep numbers right there. That John's had a tough time. Lost his curveball.
Nick Markakis leads off, chops one toward the middle. Murphy to his right. The cross-body throw in the dirt, and Duda can't scoop it, and Markakis is aboard.
Murph throwing off balance. In between hop. Tougher hop for the scoop. Looks like he got it on the heel of his glove, Lucas. E4 gear?
Waiting.
Should be an E4. He was out.
It should be. And they're going to score it an infield hit.
Wow. Well, that's a home book.
I mean, he was out.
To me, it's an error.
Yeah, I agree with you. Daniel Castro takes outside for ball 1.
The ball's sinking into Lucas a little bit. You can see he got it in the heel. That's what happened.
So Markakis with his 163rd hit of the season. He's 3rd in the National League in base hits. Daniel Castro hit his first major league home run 2 nights ago. First home run he had hit at any level this year. Played 112 games in the minor leagues. Castro played in the Dominican Summer League, then went back home to Mexico to play for a couple of seasons before he got his real start in professional baseball. But he's only 22 and getting a tryout with the Braves this September. It has been such a difficult time for John Neese. Each of his last 3 starts, he's had an inning blow up on him. Last start, it was the Wilson Ramos grand slam that shocked him, and he wound up getting knocked out in the 4th inning in Washington. Double play ball. Tejada bobbles it, gets the out at second. Boy, Tejada's been very loose the last couple of games, and misplayed what looked like a sure double play into just 1 out.
What a funky hop that was. Gave Tejada the big hop. He just took his eye off the ball. Nice recovery. Very fortunate there. And a lot of times we find out, Gary, these day games, a lot of cobwebs in the first 3 or 4 innings. I don't know what's in that mixture of coffee. You got to put a little more coffee grounds in it.
Freddie Freeman hits one in the air to right field. Granderson is there and puts it away for the 2nd out. So the Braves being aggressive. 2 of the first 3 hitters putting the first pitch into play against John Neese.
And we'll take a look at your first place Mets. I know you folks love that. From Lexus, Neuenhuis in center field. That is Newey's first start since July 29th. On the infield, Uribe Tejada on the left side. Uribe back in there after a couple days off. Plawecki got a big hit the other night. He started. It's a nice mix and match on this squad now. Good balanced roster, to say the least.
Here's Adonis Garcia, who tied up the game last night against Tyler Clippard as a pinch hitter. First pitch hit a 3-run bomb into the seats in left field. His 8th home run and 146 at bats for Atlanta. The Braves have 2 30-year-old Cuban players back-to-back in their lineup, Garcia and Hector Oliveira. That's grounded off the foot of Garcia. Foul ball, 1-2. In Oliveira's case, he came from the Dodgers, who signed him to a 6-year deal. Came in that Alex Wood trade.
Wood has been so-so with the Dodgers, has he not? He hasn't been.
He had a rough night the other night. In Garcia's case, he was in the Yankee organization. They released him at the end of spring training this year, and the Braves picked him up, and he saws that one into shallow right, and that's going to fall for a hit. Castro pulls in at second. Garcia has himself a bloop single, and Neese has some 2-out trouble.
Nice play by Curtis. Man had a play similar last night that he kind of pulled up on. We thought he had a chance for a dive on that play. But that's just a little dork right there, and John's got to get out of this inning.
So 2 soft hits against Nice, and now Oliveira, who's 1 for 9 in this series.
This is a whole new Atlanta Brave ball club. It's almost like a spring training roster.
Now the Braves are dead last in the National League in runs scored. But this is a very different looking Atlanta team than the one we saw a couple of months ago. Mets came in here in June and got swept in a 3-game series. And now trying to sweep a 4-game series in Atlanta for the first time since 1985, the famous series that featured the 19-inning 4 o'clock in the morning game on July 4th and 5th. 0-2 coming, and it just missed outside. 1-2. Tim Timmons is the home plate umpire.
It's the one thing I forgot to do, Gary. Thank you. I forgot to put in the umpires today in my card.
We'll catch up. 1-2 coming, and it's low. 2-2 to Oliveira. Andrelton Simmons would be next. John has given up 5 or more runs in 4 straight starts. Last time a Met pitcher did that, it was Johan Santana in the last 5 starts that he pitched in the major leagues in 2012. And now he's run full to Oliveira. John did a lot of work on his curveball during his between starts bullpen session.
I had a conversation with Jim Cott, a very good friend of mine, great pitcher. He saw John pitch and thought his mechanics were all messed up. And now I never really cared about mechanics on pitchers, so I didn't ask him what I should have. And now that I'm in the media, I'm kind of like a reporter. I could have got some insight and tip from an ex-pro, but I dropped the ball. Sorry, Gary.
Don't apologize to me. It's the 3-2, and that's inside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Nice got ahead on Oliveira 0-2, and he loses him to a walk. And now the Braves have the bases loaded with 2 down, and Andrelton Simmons coming up.
Well, it's the one guy you didn't want to face. Simmons has been always a guy that gets his hits against the Mets.
Particularly against Nice. He's 8 for 23. That's a .348 average for Simmons against Nice. So an early moment of truth for John Nice, who's trying to get out of a slump and finds himself in a mess. 2 soft hits and a walk, loading the bases with 2 out. And he paints the outside corner for strike 1. Simmons 5 for 11 in this series after taking an 0 for last night. Surprisingly hitting just .221 against lefties this year. But there are his numbers against Nice for his career. And he runs the cutter in on him and gets ahead 0-2.
Good cutter right there. Fastball. Cutter down and in. Put him away. It's a lot of pitchers just have a hard time putting hitters away when they got him.
Slap to the right side. Murphy gets to it. And that gets Nice through the opening inning unscathed. Braves leave them loaded. After 1, Mets and Braves no score. full or partial ticket plan today and guarantee yourself access to 2015 Mets postseason tickets. Purchase tickets online at Mets.com/deposits. They're in the third inning in Miami. The Nats, who have lost 5 in a row, scoreless with the Marlins. Juan Uribe leads off in the second for New York and takes a strike. Uribe 3 for 4 in this series with a double and 3 RBIs. All of that came in the opening game of the series. And getting the start today with David Wright getting a day off.
And remember, that was the first game of this series where the team got in late, and it was the bullpen was stretched. It was a big game to win. It was a perfect game for a letdown for the Mets, and Uribe got a key late 2 RBI double that padded the lead and then pretty much drove in the insurance runs that ensured victory.
Terry Collins made the point after the game last night as Uribe bangs one into center field for a base hit. Garcia gets it back in, and Uribe settles for a leadoff single, the Mets' first hit. He made the point that for all the talk about Cespedes, and rightly so, Cespedes has been amazing, that the Mets began to pick up when they got Uribe and Johnson, and that both of them have had an enormous number of big hits considering their playing time since joining the ball club.
It's all 4 of the gentlemen. It's just they've all 3 of them have been overshadowed by what Cespedes has been doing. I mean, how can you make a dent into that with what every day Cespedes is doing?
And of course, this guy's had a big piece as well. Michael Conforto. He was called up around the same time the Mets got Johnson and Uribe in late July, and all he's done is put up a .367 on base percentage, .521 slugging. He's 3 for 10 in this series, and has shown off some terrific defense as well. Far better than the Mets thought they had a right to expect. Ball and strike to Conforto.
So Weber, if you're a left-hand hitter, is the kind of guy who likes to change speed, sinker. It's a guy you got to go up the middle on.
Kirk Neuenhuis getting the start in center field today, waiting on deck. Ryan Weber, 25 years old, although you look at him, he looks a lot younger than that. Just a little guy. 6 foot, 175. 22nd round draft pick out of junior college in 2009, Florida kid. Slowly hit, foul. 1-2.
You see, that's playing. That's Weber's game, to get the left-hander to roll over, get out in front.
He had a good first start against the Phillies. Went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, 4 hits. Team didn't score for him, and he took the loss. But what's interesting about Weber is getting a chance to start in the big leagues, despite the fact that he was only a spot starter in the minor leagues this year. Only once did he throw more than 76 pitches in a game at AA and AAA this year. Playing behind Uribe at first, and Conforto bounces it foul. That's a little unusual. This early in the game, a position player at first base, and they're playing behind him.
I agree, and Uribe is not that slow.
Sneaked the occasional stolen base. He has 2 this year.
It's a bit early for that.
You would think, right?
Yes.
And Conforto takes just inside, 2-2.
Tried to get him inside. His game is away.
What stands out about Weber's minor league numbers this year, in 100 innings, he walked only 10 batters. So he's going to be around the plate.
Which is always good for a getaway day. There, now Freeman's guarding him on.
That's interesting. Right in the middle of the at-bat, decided to hold the runner.
Not only did he come in the middle of the at-bat, when Weber went into started his stretch, he broke in and covered the bag. Now he's behind again. Interesting.
A little cat and mouse. Two guys who were teammates earlier this year, exchanging notes. Uribe trying to shield Freeman.
Well, you can always gather a lot of real good intelligence over at first base.
Do you have to be a good spy to be a first baseman?
Oh, hey, it's very covert over there. You have to find out how do you feel. I mean, at this point in the season for the Braves, it doesn't matter. But
well, they'll be playing the Mets again next week.
I used to always quiz the hitters. Hey, how you swinging the bat? How you feel at the plate? Find out.
8th pitch coming to Conforto, and he drills one down the right field line, headed toward the stands. It's out of here! Michael Conforto with a line drive home run deep into the seats in right. His 7th home run gives the Mets a 2-0 lead. Well, Weber worked him tough. Conforto fouled off a couple of tough pitches. And deep into the at-bat, he drills a 2-run homer to give the Mets the early lead.
Got a fat one. I think it was a high change gear or a high hanging curve. We'll find out. And he stayed back. Change up. And ripped.
I mean, that was an impressive looking home run.
It's very nice at bat. And once again, it's someone new every day. They're all contributing. This is all the recipe for success.
Nieuwenhuis drives one to right, and Markakis can't play it. It's over his head. And Nieuwenhuis heads to second and pulls in with a double. Well, Nieuwenhuis Markakis misplayed a ball by Darno last night in the 9th inning that led to the Mets' go-ahead run, and he's unable to catch this ball either.
He's just having a tough time in right field. This one is more egregious, Gary, than the one last night.
Markakis, former Gold Glover in right field, is on a rough last few innings out there. So 3 straight hits for the Mets to start the second. Uribe single, Conforto 2-run homer, now a Nieuwenhuis double, and now Ruben Tejada hitting 7th in the order. Ruben 1 for 5 in this series.
Ruben's got to be thinking opposite field, minimum advance the runner.
And Bethancourt and Weber will have a conversation.
He's throwing a he's almost sidearm. That's fastball, folks. I was mistaken. And look at it just stay up. And oh gosh, just come to me, please. Come to me.
And backhanded out of the dirt by Bethancourt. Ball 1. Washington has played at a run in the 3rd. Brad Hand issued a bases loaded walk, and the Nats lead the Marlins 1-0. For the first time in the post-game quotes after Washington lost yesterday, there was resignation.
Oh, well, absolutely. As they say in Japan, sayonara.
Well, it's amazing how quickly the Mets lead grew. They went into Washington on Monday with a 4-game lead, and here we are 6 days later, and they've added 5.5 games to that lead.
A complete collapse by Washington. Completely had the starch taken out of them. They might not even finish 500, Gary. And my guess is they're going to finish under 500. And it kind of punctuates the division itself being weak, and has no reflection on the Mets. The Mets are good, but the Mets before the July 31st deadline were in the same basket.
Well, here's the way you have to look at it. If the division had been stronger and the Nats had done what everybody expected them to do, the Mets probably never would have made the deals that they made right before and at the deadline.
Yep.
They would have been buried by that point. But because the Nats played mediocre baseball, it kept the Mets in it and gave Sandy Alderson the impetus to make the deals that have made the Mets this strong. And what has resulted is now a Mets team that is 20 games over 500 for the first time since 2007. If they win today, they clinch their first winning season since 2008, and there are only lots of riches beyond for them to attain.
Now, the Dodgers won last night, but they're a half game and behind the Dodgers and 1 game in the loss column for a better record and a home field advantage in that 5-game series up against the Dodgers.
Well, you're assuming they're going to play the Dodgers, but the Cardinals have fallen off the cliff the last couple of weeks, and it's possible, it's not likely, but it's possible for the Mets to catch the Cardinals. They're only 7 games behind St. Louis.
That'd be a tough chore right there.
Well, if they keep losing, we'll see what happens. 3-2 to Tejada with Plawecki on deck. Meanwhile, you mentioned the Dodgers. Let's look at the Central standings where things have really tightened up. Cubs lost last night, but the Pirates won. Michael Morris hit a pinch hit grand slam as they beat the Brewers, while the Cardinals were losing their 8th in 10 by dropping 2 to Cincinnati, so that's now 2.5.
Well, you see right there the last 10 games, 2-8. The Cardinals allowing the Pirates to pick up 4, and the Cubs to pick up 5 games.
8th pitch to Tejada, and he lines one right at the second baseman Castro, and Neuenhuis gets back. That's the first out of the inning.
Well, nice try, Ruben.
So 1 out. Kevin Plawecki will come up. Talking about the Dodgers last night, they beat the Diamondbacks. Corey Seager, a very highly regarded prospect, he's been playing shortstop because Jimmy Rollins has a bad finger. What's Seager done? In 8 games, he's hitting .467, hit his first big league home run last night. Jimmy Rollins could be Wally Pipp.
Could happen.
I mean, Seager is supposed to be the next big prospect in the game, and so far he's played just like it. Younger brother of Kyle Seager, who plays in Seattle. Plawecki getting his second start of the series, had a really good game Thursday night. Drove in 3 runs. There goes Neuenhuis. The throw to third by Bethancourt, and Neuenhuis is out. So Kirk trying to steal third, and Bethancourt, who has a very strong arm, gunned him down.
Perfect footwork. Got him. I don't mind that play, really, to be honest with you. The Mets have been they're up 2-0. They've been playing so great.
I'm not sure he got him on the initial
tag. Him on the chin.
But I think he got him on the second tag.
Look at the swoop up. He gives him an uppercut to the chin. Oh, he tagged him right there.
Did he?
Yes. Now watch. Keep it going, guys. Take that. Boom.
Right in the shots. Meanwhile, Plawecki has to get out of the way of an inside pitch. Well, Bethancourt has had his problems catching the ball, but throwing it is not his issue. He's got a terrific arm. See that curveball that backed up inside on Plawecki.
Here comes the different angle for you folks to look at. Umpire's right there, isn't he? He's right in position to make the call.
It's Chris Siegel, the young third base umpire. 2 out and nobody on. And Plawecki takes the curveball low and away. 2-2. John Neese would be next. Mets have taken the lead here in the second on Michael Conforto's 2-run homer, his 7th of the year. Brian Weber, the 10th different starting pitcher the Braves have used this year. They have used 37 pitchers in all, which is just unbelievable. 59 players, which is a franchise record. And there's ball 4 to Plawecki, so Neese will get the turn at bat. It's not the only negative franchise number that the Braves are approaching. They've lost 11 straight home games. The last time a Braves team lost 11 straight home games, it was 2 cities ago when they played in Boston in 1931.
The Braves of Boston.
They never lost 11 in a row in Milwaukee, never lost 11 straight home games in Atlanta. So you got to go back to the Boston Braves.
When did they move to Milwaukee? It was in the
54, 53, 54. Yeah. Big hop for Simmons. He'll go to first with it and throw out Neese to end the inning. But the Mets grab the lead. Michael Conforto drills a home run, and the Mets lead 2-0. 20 years ago, the Braves, who won 14 straight division titles, their only World Series championship during that stretch. Mark Wohlers retiring Carlos Baerga for the final out.
Well, got that World Series win, and of course they have more than a few failures. They've been in the same group as those Buffalo Bills.
Christian Bethancourt breaks his bat. Uribe has it and throws out Bethancourt one away. Let's check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
The real bugaboo for John Neese these last few starts has been his curveball. And Kevin Plawecki said when you talk about a pitcher that is struggling with a certain pitch, you have to be more cognizant of when they use that pitch. So maybe you only use it in low leverage spots so you can't get hurt if there's nobody on base hurt too badly. Maybe you only use it in situations where you're ahead in the count so you can bounce that pitch and you don't need to throw it for a strike. And finally, when it's the curveball, you really have to be cognizant of guys' swings. You don't throw it to a guy with a slow swing because that's a pitch that they can really get to.
Steve, sounds like you have a big fan down there with you.
Yeah, that was fun to do it with, guys. Yeah. Really fun to do that with that guy in the background. In case you didn't hear, they did once have Chipper Jones here.
You did great. It's hard to focus when you got someone doing that in the back. Oh, gosh.
Tried my best. Did the point get across? You understand what I was saying, guys?
Yes, we did.
Yes, we certainly did. We understood him, too.
All right. Yeah, he was clear.
He was very articulate.
Live TV, right?
Michael Bourne 1 for 10 in the series, and he fouls it off. And the point is well taken. I mean, he's got to get that pitch back to be a successful pitcher, but it's hard to use it when you're in a tight spot.
And he's used it, and he's been hurt by it.
Well, that's the pitch he threw to Wilson Ramos, the curveball that yielded the grand slam in his last start. Bourne pops one up, shallow left, and Conforto circles in and finds it through the sunglasses for the second out. So Neese has retired the first two here in the second, and now we'll get the opposing pitcher, Ryan Weber, looking for his first big league hit. 0 for 2 in his debut.
Ryan Weber's song coming up was that ridiculous Munster song I'm so sick of.
I don't even know what you're talking about. Duda makes the play on Weber. It's a quick inning for Neese. He threw just 9 pitches. 2-0 Mets after 2. Trivia question: who is the Mets' all-time single-season walks leader? Only one Met who's ever walked 100 times in a season, and it's not you.
No. I did it once in St. Louis. I was walking on 90 times.
Curtis Granderson's walked 81 times this year, which I guess accounts for the timing of the question, because Curtis leads off in the third inning.
And outside chance for 100. More realistic, 95, which is outstanding.
Well, his on-base percentage, 362. Flied out his first time up. I don't think there's a club in the major leagues that wouldn't sign up for a leadoff hitter with a 362 on-base percentage, then add in 23 home runs. And Curtis has had himself a phenomenal year as a leadoff hitter.
He certainly has.
Granderson, Murphy, and Duda against Weber in the third. Mets got their 2 in the second on Michael Conforto's home run. And Granderson lifts one down the left field side. Garcia, right at the line, has to reach back to make the catch. He was having trouble that time.
His right arm out too. He was like in the field of play. Who was he calling off? One of the fans? Jeez, I got it. I
think he was feeling for the wall, actually.
He wasn't even close to the wall.
I know. He was just making sure.
It's Sunday, folks, and we get very lighthearted and giddy up here. You know, of course, the Mets, what, a 6-game win streak? I know you folks are happy at home.
Murphy chops one. Simmons with a nice easy hop. And there are 2 away. So 2 up and 2 set aside, and now Lucas Duda flied to center his first time up. The 6-game winning streak, by the way, is the 4th 6-game winning streak the Mets have put together this season, which is the most 6-game winning streaks they've had in a season since 1986.
Going back to rarefied air there. I'm talking about probably the greatest decade in Met history, which I think this team has the potential to join the club. This current Met team.
And Duda's hit on the foot, and he'll go to first base. 13th time this year Duda's been hit by a pitch. Coors Light Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Coors Light. Well, the Mets struggled early in the season on the road, not lately. 19-5 on the road since the trading deadline.
How about that?
And how about this? 26 straight games on the road now. The Mets have scored 3 or more runs. The 3rd longest such streak in National League history.
Probably going to do it again today. They're 2/3 of the way there. And most importantly, too, Garrett, they win today, they get their road record up to 500 at 37-37.
Which is amazing. You remember all the hand-wringing earlier this year about the Mets' inability to win on the road, and particularly to score on the road. Well, that's completely turned around, as has the entire Mets season.
It has been a wonderful downhill ride here since July 31st.
And with none of those slalom poles to work around, just clear downhill sailing.
Don't even have to go to the whip.
We're mixing our metaphors.
There's a nice little saunter.
Not from skiing to horse racing. Just like that. Duda at first with 2 out. Uribe had a base hit his first time, and he bangs one to center field, but on comes Bourne to make the grab, and that retires the side. Just like Michael Conforto hit the ball in the last inning, he waffled it.
made John Neese, I think, he had as good a curveball as there was in baseball at one time, and right now he's lost the feel for it. So if he can get that pitch back, that's a huge advantage for him. And he lives and dies with the two-seamer and the cutter and the changeup, and he needs to be able to spin something. And right now, you look at the big innings, and the home runs have been hit on his breaking ball, which is something that he's never had before. So I know that was a big focus. Their last bullpen was to get that breaking ball back.
And he started out Markakis with a curveball out of the strike zone and comes back with a fastball for a strike. Markakis had a base hit on a backhand play by Murphy, a low throw that Duda couldn't handle. Probably should have been an error, but was scored a hit. And he dribbles this one up the line. Neese with a tough play throws it around Markakis and gets the out. He should have tried to go behind the back.
That would have been appropriate, or he could have gone into what's the umpires talking about here. That's a fair ball.
Well, the question was Markakis in the running lane, but Duda came off the bag, so
he's in the running.
They're going to call him safe. You're right, he is in the running lane, Keith. And Duda came off the bag. I think the first base umpire was screened and couldn't see it, consulted with the home plate umpire Tim Timmons, and he made the call, and I think it was the right one that Duda was off the bag.
Was he off the bag, or did he bobble the throw? Now, what you properly want to do here, he's off the bag. Now, as a first baseman, you see how his momentum's going to carry him into foul territory? You say outside, outside. You scream it, and you're not inside like Lucas is. You're outside the line. And that gives John a better throw and a better avenue to throw.
Well, Terry Collins just came out, and I don't know if the Mets are challenging the call or whether they asked for a crew chief review, since the umpires had to consult on the play. We'll have to wait to find that out. Either way, they are going to video replay. The call on the field was safe, although the initial call was out by the first base umpire Tim Welke, but in consultation with Tim Timmons, the home plate umpire, who had a better view of it. You see how Welke is screened there.
No, it's a tough play for Lucas. He's off the bag, Gary.
Yeah,
is that he caught it with his glove, in a Willie Mays type catch.
And I don't know why he left his feet like that. There was really no reason to, was there?
Because he had his glove in that position, and it would have hit his chest, Gary, so you have to come up. Am I being clear on that?
Yeah, the question is, why didn't he have his glove extended in the first place the way
it's a tough play because John's throwing very close to you, halfway down up the line and in foul territory. And some guys have quicker hands than others, but you certainly want your hand out as soon as you can, or your fingers up. Not he had him pointed down. So I don't know if I'm being clear.
No, you're being completely clear. I guess the question is, here at this point, shouldn't Lucas have the glove extended?
Well, look how close.
Yeah.
It's tough when it's going to be a close play and the pitcher's going to hammer you with a hard one.
But normally you want your first baseman to reach, a right-handed first baseman, reach across his body toward fair territory to create the target. Right?
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, they confirmed the safe call. Plan review was brought to you by Mazda. So it's scored an infield hit. Another infield hit for Markakis, when that could have easily been ruled an error as well.
An error on Lucas,
yeah. He's gotten 2 base hits on very questionable scoring decisions.
Real briefly, the point you want to make. Now, the pitcher's close to you, so what Lucas did, he had his glove like this, so the ball was going to hit him here. So he had to jump up. So if the ball's going to hit you here in your hands like this, you've got to jump up to get your glove to it. If you're like this, easy play.
Right, but he's a right-handed first baseman.
Doesn't matter.
So he needs to reach across that way, right?
He should have shifted into the foul territory on that play in the beginning, and that would have freed up everything. So, did you see what happened? He had to come up, or that ball was going to hit him right in the chest.
So it gives the Braves a leadoff base runner. Daniel Castro, the batter, and East misses away to him, and now he's behind 3-1. Castro hit into a force play his first time up. Nats just added a run in the top of the fourth and lead the Marlins 2-0. And there's strike 3 and 2. That's the good news for Washington. The bad news, Bryce Harper just came out of the game for what they're calling precautionary reasons.
Well, you know what? It's over. I hate to say it.
Well,
it's not over till it's over, but
I agree. That ball's going to sneak through the hole for a base hit. And Markakis will go first to third. Granderson's throw well short of the mark. And the Braves have first and third and nobody out.
all right, John's got to avoid the big inning. We talked about it earlier. The last 3 starts, he's had all 3 starts giving up 5 runs in an inning. He just cannot escape the long inning. And the ball hit not hard at all. You see Markakis never used his third base coach. He looked over his shoulder. You make your own judgment.
Well, Neese has now given up 4 hits in this game, and not a single one of them has been hit hard. He was able to escape traffic in the first inning. And now he's got first and third and nobody out for Freddie Freeman, who takes a strike. I was going to say about the Nats, you're absolutely right about the Nats, but as far as Harper's concerned, he's trying to finish off an MVP season.
That's true.
And if he misses time late in the year, who knows? Maybe, Cespedes might have a chance to blow right by.
Would that just be rare for someone that's played 4/6 of a season in the other league?
It would be very unusual.
I think it would be a first. Have to be.
But he would have to keep up at the rate he's at now, which is almost unsustainable.
Well, maybe it's written, one of those things.
Yeah.
Lawrence of Arabia, it's written.
Meanwhile, the Braves have the tying runs on base and nobody out, and Freeman goes down swinging on the fastball for the first out. There's a big out for John Neese, his first strikeout of the day.
Want it up. He didn't get it up. Got it around belt high.
So 1 out, runners at the corners, and now Adonis Garcia, who flared a single into right field his first time up. Garcia now 4 for 6 in this series, including that 3-run homer last night. And he finds the corner. 0-1.
And I think Clippard needs a bit of a rest. They're going to give Familia and him off today, obviously, no matter what. The Mets have 2 more scheduled off days in the season. And the first one will be Thursday, and the next one will be Monday after that 4-game series in Cincinnati.
Between Cincinnati and Philadelphia.
Yep.
Popped it up. Milwaukee and Duda looking for him, and Duda drops it. Well, looked like Duda had it lined up, but again he had the glove turned in an awkward way and didn't catch it. And I would think that's got to be an error, prolonging the turn at bat.
Wow, that's a big out right there. You got to make that play. I know there's some sun, but that's why you wear glasses,
which Lucas is not.
And that's a cardinal sin. Look at the shadows on the field right now on the players. The sun is directly over home plate, so when you're coming in.
That's another flare to shallow right, and another hit for Garcia, and this one will bring home a run. The exact same spot he got his first base hit. A little dunker into shallow right to drive in the first Atlanta run and cut the Met lead to 2-1.
Well, that should have been 2 outs. Got to have glasses on.
So Garcia 2 for 2 with a couple little duck snorts. And that's 5 hits now against Neese, and not a single one hit hard. Now it's Hector Olivera, who walked his first time up. By the way, on that drop pop-up, they did not charge an error to Duda. They ruled it no play.
They could have charged an error. You're right, Gary. I always forget that. You can make an error in foul territory.
Sure. Prolonging the time at bat.
Yeah.
1-1 to Oliveira.
John's just got to this is what he needs to overcome, and quite frankly, he's been in this game long enough where you wonder if he's going to be able to overcome it. I have my doubts now. He just fights himself too much. He's never gotten past it. You know, you look at DeGrom, who fights through a tough outing. Matz the other day, both outings didn't have his stuff, was pushing through. And John just gets that. He just beats himself to death out there.
And yet for 3 months he pitched incredibly well, and it's only now over this last 3 weeks or so that he just can't get out of his own way. Lifted to right. Granderson over. Castro tags at second. He'll go to third. Now there are 2 out. Well, there's a deeper narrative here also for John, which is as he continues to struggle, and you know, it hasn't really been a struggle for him today, other than the fact they've had a lot of soft hits. But he's had 4 straight bad starts, and now Terry and Sandy are starting to think about how to put together a postseason rotation.
Yep.
And they've got a lot of options. They've got a lot of limitations too, especially with Harvey, and potentially with Syndergaard as well. That's hit toward the hole, and Simmons has a base hit, and that brings in the tying run. Castro comes in to score, and the Braves draw even at 2. So Andrelton Simmons, first pitch swinging. That's the hardest hit ball for the Braves so far this afternoon. Their 6th hit gets them even.
Well, Simmons always seems to drive in runs against the Mets. Nice effort by Ruben.
So now 2 out and 2 on with 2 runs home and Christian Bethancourt at the batter. You know, right now, if you were to draw up a playoff rotation, it may well be John Neese would be on the outside looking in. I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but that's hit in the air to deep left field. Back goes Conforto. He's got room on the warning track and makes the catch. The wind saved John Neese there, blowing hard from left toward right, kept that ball in the ballpark. Conforto making the grab, but the Braves scored 2 and get even 2-2 after 3. replaced come 2017 by SunTrust Park, which is being built out in Cobb County, north of the city. And that is a rendering of the Braves ballpark to be.
It's going to be an entirely different county. Bullet. Oh, nice up hop, nice play by Castro.
Michael Conforto, who hit one 30 rows back in the stands his first time up.
What was that exit velocity on that home run?
115 miles an hour.
You know what that means, folks? From a trained eye like myself, not someone behind a computer, you hit the dog out of it.
He hit the ball real hard.
Yes. Exit velocity. My foot.
Here's Kirk Neuenhuis, who hit a double over Markakis' head in right field his first time up. Off-speed pitch from Ryan Weber misses for ball one. For Kirk Neuenhuis, his first start since July the 29th. That was the day before he went on the disabled list. And went back to the minor league for some rehab and was a September call-up and has already had his September moment. Chops one to the right side for Freeman, and Weber over to cover. 2 out. Braves have had success with little right-handers, haven't they? Greg Maddux.
Yes.
Chris Medlin. Don't know what Ryan Weber is going to be, but he's got that same slight stature.
And just interesting, you mentioned Chris Medlin and whatever happened to Brian Beachy with L.A., right? The Dodgers?
Brian Beachy's had, what, 2 Tommy John surgeries?
Yes, and they've just such promise, and they're in deep trouble, and that's what you don't want with Matt Harvey. I mean, that's a concern. I mean, the guys that go and have to have second Tommy John surgery, the recovery rate and success rate after the second surgery is not good.
And there's no argument there. The only problem is nobody knows what causes one guy to fail and one guy to succeed.
Well, I remember our colleague Ron Darling saying, well, they can't wait to get guys with Tommy John because they'd come back stronger. And then all of a sudden you had Medlin and Beachy in 1 year, both of them under second Tommy John. And everybody said, whoa, we better rethink this.
Well, but the other piece of that is that at that point, the idea was that the routine recovery time was going to be 11 or 12 months as Tejada finds the hole and he has a base hit. But in Harvey's case, they waited 17 months because of the timing of it. And that's what the Mets are going to have to guard against next year with Zach Wheeler.
Exactly.
Because he went down in spring training. So, you know, there was a time a few years ago when the team would have aimed to get him back opening day next year. Well, the Mets are going to have no part of that. There's no way that Wheeler's going to throw a pitch before June at the earliest next year, and maybe even later than that.
And rightly so.
At the major league level.
I would have him when he's ready to go and have him for a second half of the season.
Wecky grounds one to Simmons, and he'll go the short way to get the force, and that retires the side. A hit and one left. Middle of the fourth, Mets and Braves tied at 2. Afternoon, not the best of days for fielders, but a beautiful day to sit in the stands and watch a ball game.
Absolutely.
2-2 game as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Michael Bourne bluffs a bunt and takes ball one from John Neese.
And Uribe got his attention. He's in at the corner over there at third base.
It's been a real struggle for Bourne. 1 for 11 in this series. And hitting just 175 since joining the Braves. He came with Nick Swisher in early August from the Indians. And the deal to send Chris Johnson to Cleveland. And he lines one toward the middle for a base hit. So the hits piling up against John Neese. That's the 7th in 3 innings plus.
That little hanging cutter.
So Bourne is aboard, and now Ryan Weber will come up to sacrifice. Grounded out his first time up. Uribe ready to crash from third, and the bunt is foul. We're talking last inning about potential postseason rotations and how John Neese may or may not figure. What is your best guess at this point? Uribe fields the bunt. He'll go to second with it. In time. The relay not in time. Aggressive play by Uribe, and they just nip Bourne at second, and Bourne doesn't want to leave. And Freddie Gonzalez may challenge the call.
Well, they're going to look at it, but he's out. And now is he on the base here? I'm talking about Tejada. Did he come off? I mean, it's not your typical double play.
It's a neighborhood play, though, so that shouldn't matter.
Right.
But the throw beat him. Freddie Gonzalez still pondering, waiting for the word from his video coordinator.
I just don't like this.
And he is not going to challenge. So Bourne is out.
Nice play by Uribe.
5-6 on the fielder's choice.
That's your veteran play right there. They'll give him that. Oh, he's still on it. Very good.
But even if he wasn't, that is not a challengeable play because of the neighborhood play rule. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Nick Markakis. So I'm not letting you get off the hook that easily. How would you think that the Mets would? I mean, we're 3 weeks to go. A lot can happen in the next 3 weeks. But knowing what you know now, how would you think the Mets would set it up?
I think all the youngsters are going to be starting. That's my feeling.
So DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard, Matz.
Yes. And
so do you think Neese or Colon will be on the roster?
Oh, definitely. I think they will be. Yes. Most certainly Colon. Colon will be your long reliever. Now, unless someone blows up, in their next start till the season's over.
That's what I'm saying. From the perspective of 3 weeks before the end of the season. Short center, Neuenhuis coming on to make the catch to retire Markakis, and that's the second out.
And I think Colon, the veteran that he is, will be able to.
He could just be a bat off the bench.
That's true. We won't pinch run him, but
looks like he's ready.
I just think he will be fine with it, and he'll be professional about it, and long relief. And I think that he will thrive there. He knows what he's doing. Neese, I don't know with him coming out of the bullpen.
Well,
I just don't know.
We don't know because he's really never done it. But now look at it from the perspective of the Mets. I mean, Dario Alvarez had a couple of nice outings, but the Mets still really haven't identified a situational lefty. Could they try Neese in that job, or would that be too much to ask at this point in his career? Grounded to the right side, and Murphy slides over to get it, and he gets Castro for the third out.
My feeling is that John will do anything to stay on the roster and be in the postseason. He's been here all year. And I think he'll be on. I think he'll be on the postseason roster.
Questions to ponder as we move forward over these next few weeks. 2-2 after 4. The early lead on the Michael Conforto 2-run homer in the second. The Braves tied it with 2 in the third against John Neese. Now the Mets will have 9-1-2 in the batting order coming up against Ryan Weber in the fifth. During today's game, you can get interactive with SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, featuring pitch-by-pitch coverage, player cards, and in-depth stats. Check out SNY Game Day on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. There have been plenty of Met fans in attendance here tonight, and they have met in this series, and they have made their presence felt throughout the 4 games. Neese grounded out to short his first time up. Ryan Weber went 6 innings in his first start through 74 pitches against the Phillies, up to 62 pitches as he starts this 5th inning. Max Scherzer and the Nationals are ahead of the Marlins 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Granderson on deck, Murphy behind him, and the breaking ball gets Neese. Weber snapped off a beauty for his first strikeout of the day.
Did it on the pitcher. It's not fair. Do it on the good hitters. My God, poor Johnny.
Got a little befuddled.
That was the best curveball he's thrown. Hey, I'm a pitcher. Save it for the big guys.
The bat toss quite disgusted Mr. Neese. Here's Granderson, who's 0 for 2, flat out twice. And he takes the changeup for a strike.
Well, I'll get you shaking your head.
Won't be needing that anymore. Fastball away. Tim Simmons, one of those home plate umpires who barks out the location.
We like that.
Yeah. Especially noticeable when you have smaller crowds like we've had here in Atlanta. Although this is not a bad gathering.
Not decent decent crowd today.
The biggest crowd of the 4 games.
They say it's wonderful. Whoa! How did
Granderson is hit by a pitch. That's the second batter the Mets have had hit in this game. Duda got plunked in the 3rd, and now Granderson's aboard with 1 out in the 5th.
This is one of those days where it's beautiful in the sun and a little chilly. Back foot. Oh, got it. Did it get him in the knee?
Shin, it looked like. So 1 out and 1 on, and here's Murphy, who's flied to center and grounded to short. That's 2 runs, 4 hits. The Braves 2 runs and 7 hits. And Murphy takes outside, ball 1. Lucas Duda waiting on deck. All through this series, all through this road trip, the Mets have been behind early. They've been even early in the middle of games. Good changeup by Weber, 1-1. But it has been their tendency, particularly of late, to do major damage against the opposition bullpens. In fact, each of the last 6 games, the Mets have scored at least 3 runs from the 7th through the 9th innings. Think about that. 6 games in a row, they've scored at least 3 runs in the last 3 innings combined. It's the longest streak of its kind in Mets history, but it gives you an idea just how much damage they've done late in games.
Well, there's been some bullpens to chalk up on, particularly here, the Braves.
Chopper for Simmons, has to wait on it, gets the out at second. The turn by Castro in time to get the sore leg Murphy for the double play. 6-4-3. Braves have turned more double plays than any team in the National League. Helps when you have that platinum glove shortstop. Freddie Freeman leads off the home 5th inning and a check swing foul ball. Freeman 0 for 2 today, 3 for 12 in the series. Braves send up 3, 4, and 5 in their order. Freeman, Garcia, and Oliveira against John Neese in the 5th. Freddie takes it outside, 1-1. Neese has given up 7 hits over the first 4 innings with just 2 runs.
Throwing a good ball game. Remember, he got kind of a lot of bleeders.
Murphy playing well into the outfield. Throws out Freeman for the first out. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com with the official daily fantasy partner of the New York Mets. Enter promo code NYM for free entry. Here's Garcia, who has 2 identical hits in this game. Little flares that fell into right field for base hits. The second one drove in a run. On the last one, he had a second chance after Lucas Duda failed to catch his foul pop-up. And Garcia was able to cash it in. See John trying to straighten out his mechanics on the fly. See Bartolo Colon doing that a lot when he feels as though he's dropped his arm. A little pantomime.
Well, it's a key to any pitcher's success is you can't drop down unless you're a side armor. You know, if you're 3/4 over the top, you've got to can't drop the elbow. You're just going to throw hangers and lose your sink.
No more bat in Bart's hand.
Good cut right there.
Garcia has certainly shown that he has got some legitimate power. More of a power hitter than Oliveira. He had one out of sight last night against Tyler Clippard. Takes another good rip. What he's not going to do is draw many walks. 3 of them in 148 official at bats. There's Oliveira on deck.
They like to swing the bat.
And he flails at that curveball in the dirt. And that's the second strikeout of the day for John Neese.
Set up by 2 fastballs that he fouled back, and then John bounced that curve and got him fishing.
So 2 out and nobody on. And now Hector Oliveira.
There's the motion of John upright. Big stride. Not that big really, but pitching a good ball game here, and this is much needed. It's good to see.
Line to right by Oliveira, but right at Granderson, and that retires the side. And John Neese has his second 1-2-3 inning of the day. Still 2-2. I'm sure we'll get it back. It was a very nice recap, too. It was telling us about John Neese's 5 innings and Michael Conforto's home run. Lucas Duda will lead off the 6th against Ryan Weber, who's making his second big league start. He's done well. Lucas hooks one into right, and there's Markakis to grab it. 1 pitch and 1 out. Well, we promised it to you, and there it is, your 6th inning recap. John Neese has scattered 7 hits over 5 innings. Hasn't been hit particularly hard. And he's kept the Mets around, which is all you ask for these days with where the Mets have been producing late game offense. going to be interesting to see how Terry handles the bullpen in a close game today. He wants to stay away from Familia and Clippard. Probably has Addison Reed to close, but how he gets there will be an interesting call. Here's Uribe. Of course, Nice has thrown only 74 pitches through 5 innings, so the hope is that John can give them at least 7 today.
Yeah, a day where Terry now can rest his troops. Darno gets a rest today. David Wright. Cespedes, only his second time he hasn't started a ball game. 9.5 point game, excuse me. Bulge. Allows you to rest your players. Gary, what?
Oh. 2-2 to Uribe, who's hit the ball hard twice tonight. A single and a line drive to center. And he dribbles that one foul. Michael Conforto waits on deck. Matt Dendecker just homered for the Nationals in the 6th inning. They now lead the Marlins 4-0. So it looks like a day the Mets will not get any help in the standings, and that's been a rarity this week. Uribe foul tips it, held by Bethancourt for the 2nd out. Second strikeout for Weber. We check in with the studio. Doug Williams has a game break brought to you by Honda. Thanks, Doug. Here's Michael Conforto, who provided the Mets offense so far today with a booming 2-run homer in the 2nd. Conforto hit a laser beam that went up above the first section of seats in right field and into the walkway. A prodigious shot. Grounds this one right to the bag at first, hits the cushion, pops right to Freeman, and that's the 3rd out. It's like room service right off the bag. 2-2. Little doink. Boop. There it is. Postgame Live. Tune to SNY for behind-the-scenes access, player reactions, and a complete game breakdown with exclusive on-field interviews and Todd Bowles' postgame comments on Jets Postgame Live, presented by Toyota, coming up today after the Jets-Brown game and the Mets postgame, only on SNY. Andrelton Simmons tied the game with a base hit in the third inning, and he takes low from John Neese, 2-0. Jets are up 21-10 on the Browns in the third quarter.
That makes you happy. Makes me happy.
I think it makes me happier. That's drilled to left field for a base hit. So Simmons continues to rake against the Mets, and in particular against John Neese.
How about Rex Ryan's debut with Buffalo? Up in Buffalo against Indianapolis, 24-0 Bills.
It's all right. They'll get the Jets twice.
Yes, they will. And Buffalo's got a decent team. They just got quarterback issues. They got good defense, and they got a very good defensive coach in Rex up there now. So we'll see how Rex does with his new digs.
Christian Bethancourt will step in. Go ahead run at first with nobody out. Bethancourt hit a deep fly ball to left his first time up, and the wind, which was blowing a lot harder at that point from left toward right, probably all that kept it in the ballpark. Bethancourt has hit 2 home runs this year. And wind at times has been blowing very hard today. Ball on a strike to Bethancourt. City probables for the series with the Marlins that begins tomorrow night at Citi Field. Logan Verrett gets his second start for the Mets against the lefty Justin Nicolino. Jacob deGrom Tuesday night against Tom Kohler, and Bartolo Colon against another lefty, Adam Conley, on Wednesday.
A very live team in Miami, as the Mets found out when they lost 2 out of 3 to start this road trip. They have got a lot of fight in them.
Still no Adeiny Echeverria. He's still down with the hamstring, and still no Giancarlo Stanton. He looks like he might be out for potentially the rest of the year, because that wrist just isn't getting any better.
That Central Division, Gary, we talked about in the National League. Cardinals up 4-2 in the 6th. Cubs are losing early, 4-2 to Philly, and Milwaukee's up 6-1 against the Pirates. So that's a real kind of what's the contentious, the right word? Contentious division.
Well, those numbers, the best news the Cardinals have heard all week. It's been a very rough stretch for them. And Neese misses away. Now he's run full on Bethancourt, who's a tough guy to walk. We got the number 8 hitter Michael Bourne on deck, the pitcher spot behind him. The Braves bullpen has begun to get cranky.
It's always interesting how you never know when spring is going to turn to summer, when it's irregular, but you always know in September it gets cool.
A stutter step by Simmons getting back to the bag that time. He almost got nabbed. Well, you don't expect autumn to arrive in Atlanta. You know, you figure it's going to stay warm well into October.
Yes.
And this is a beautiful fall type day.
It's supposed to be beautiful in New York, the forecast, Garrett. Yep. All week is supposed to be in the 80s, so we'll take it. We love that. I'm sure the players will too. It'll be cool at night. It'll cool off at night.
Bethancourt fighting hard against Neese. I mean, it's a crystal clear day, and all the fielders have had issues with the sun and with the breeze. Eighth pitch of the at bat, and Bethancourt grounds a double play ball, goes right through Uribe. Trying for third is Simmons, and the throw by Tejada not in time, and pulling into second is Bethancourt. It was a tailor-made double play ball, and it went right through Juan Uribe, and the Braves have runners at second and third and nobody out.
It scooted, Gary, hit the back end of the cut of the grass. It was coming up, and then it scooted when it hit the lip. And it fooled Uribe, and it would have fooled a lot of guys. Uribe can pick it. There it is. See that bounce? And that's what the difference.
It'll be an error on Uribe. Nice has got a big mess on his hands. Second and third and nobody out. Michael Bourne the batter. That's to play the infield back with the exception of Duda at first, and now he's backing up as well as Bourne takes the pitch for a strike. Bourne had a base hit to center field his last time up, so the Mets are conceding a run on a ground ball, and if you're Bourne, you got to pull the ball here.
Well, yes.
But he skies one foul.
That might stay in play.
Side Uribe with the wind blowing it back into play, but not quite enough.
Unfortunate hop for the Mets and John Nice and Uribe.
Tim Stauffer is yet to appear in a game for the Mets as the right-hander up in the bullpen. Dario Alvarez the left-hander. 0-2 to Bourne, and that's lifted to left. Should be deep enough for Simmons to score. Now Conforto coming in on it, makes the catch. Here comes Simmons. Here comes the throw. It's too high, backed up by Nice. The run scores. The Braves take the lead, and Bethancourt goes to third. It's 3-2 Atlanta.
Well, overthrew the cutoff man, and Conforto knows it. That's a rookie mistake right there. He figures he's coming in. He's got a chance. A double pump on his glove, too. I saw that like David Wright does. And then overthrows, watch double click. That's not good. He's got to break that habit. Overthrew the cutoff man, everybody, and it allows the runner to go to third.
Now the pitcher Weber, suicide squeeze, but he fouls off the bunt. Bethancourt was coming. The suicide squeeze was on, and Weber fouled it away. One thing about that play with Conforto overthrowing, John Nice was in the right place. Otherwise, Bethancourt might have scored.
He wants to get. You're not supposed to leave too quick. It's a tip, so you want to leave, especially with a left-hander. You can leave a little sooner because a left-hander has his back turned to the runner. But you really don't want to leave before the pitcher's in the point of his motion where he's focused on home plate.
Now it's 0-2 to Weber. Bunted into a fielder's choice his last time up. Did you ever ask to squeeze?
No.
Even in the minors? High school?
You must be joking. High school?
It's the 0-2. And Nice couldn't quite get Weber, who fouled it off. John up to 90 pitches now. Finds himself behind for the first time today. An error put him in jeopardy. Now trying to keep that second run from scoring, facing the opposing pitcher. 1-2 to Weber with Nick Markakis on deck.
Oh, the Yankees are up 4-0. I see in the seventh.
Flies one foul. That's Masahiro Tanaka.
Right.
An absolute must-win game for the Yankees.
Yes, sir.
To try to avoid getting swept in a 4-game series. Blue Jays 32-9 in their last 41 games, but reeling from the loss at Troy Tulowitzki. 1-2 coming, and the curveball struck him out. Weber is now out as Plawecki makes the toss. So 2 out in the inning. Third strikeout for Nice. So 2 out. Bethancourt still at third. It's left to Nick Markakis. Markakis 2 questionable infield hits in this game.
And the one ball he hit hard was a line drive to center field, was an out.
It all evens out in the end, my friend.
Not the good hitters.
So you're saying the good hitters get robbed more often than they get lucky?
Because they hit the ball harder more than they do bleeders or bloops.
1-on-1 to Markakis. Hits one sharply. Knocked down by Murphy. And they stretch by Duda and they get the out. That one came up and bit Murphy. And it hit him pretty hard.
There's been some bad hops this whole series.
It's like the old Atlanta Stadium.
Yep.
3-2 Braves. Human rights. So much of the history of the civil rights movement.
That has just been recently opened, correct, Gary?
Yes. It's been open for about a year.
Jackie Robinson, of course.
We go to the 7th inning. Mets down a run. Kirk Neuenhuis leads off against Ryan Weber. So Weber in position for his first Major League victory in his second start. Neuenhuis a double and a ground out today, 1 for 2. Mets have been limited to 4 hits. And the changeup from Weber misses. 2-0.
Weber's throwing a nice little ball game.
Well, for a kid who was a swingman in the minors, made only 9 starts this year, he certainly has impressed. The question is, how far can he go now? This is only the second time all year, both in the majors and the minors, that he's thrown more than 80 pitches in a game.
You know, Freddie Gonzalez would rather not go to the bullpen. This bullpen has just been guys coming. Well, ball 4 to Neuenhuis to lead off the 7th, but they've been coming in with gasoline in their back pocket.
So a leadoff walk issued by Weber. Second one he's allowed today, and the Mets have the tying run aboard with nobody on. We'll see what Ruben Tejada's asked to do.
Got a nice little hole to go in between first and second base. Freddie Freeman holding on Neuenhuis. Castro, the second baseman, has to play double play depth. He's not only in a little shallow, but more up the middle, and it's a nice little hole to go first and third.
Ruben's hit the ball well twice today, lined out and single. And he takes inside from Weber, so 5 straight out of the strike zone to start this 7th inning from Ryan Weber.
And there's some activity in that Brave bullpen. Someone just a right-hander got up.
They're somewhat screened from that, from both bullpens. Runner goes. Tejada on a hit and run. Nice snag by Oliveira, and they get the out at first. So the Mets, who don't play hit and run a lot, did it there. And Oliveira, all that prevented the Mets from having first and third.
Well, I love the call. And if it gets by Oliveira, Tejada might beat this ball out. Although you got the cannon arm of Simmons there. That nice stretch by Freeman. Oh, look at a little pirouette after.
So the Mets have the tying run in scoring position with one out. The right-hander Peter Moylan, the left-hander Matt Marksberry up in the bullpen for Atlanta. Kevin Plawecki the batter. Kelly Johnson on deck to pinch hit. Plawecki has walked and hit into a force play 0 for 1.
Really a nice play here in short hop, stretching as far as he can. Nice play.
Neuenhuis at second and 1 out. And now Weber behind 2-0. Weber has thrown 8 pitches in this inning, 7 of the 8 out of the strike zone, and that's not his norm. He's a control pitcher. Bethancourt out for a talk.
Remember, we've talked about Weber in his year AA and AAA in the minors. He's just a September call-up. You see all the pitchers that were used this season, most by the Braves.
I mean, 36.
I know.
You only have 12 at a time. So it's almost like they've turned their staff over twice. That's amazing.
Roger McDowell, that's his headache.
Well, he's had nothing but success as Braves pitching coach until this year. It has been a nightmare. Plawecki lines one to center field. That's down for a base hit. Neuenhuis had to slow up, so he'll be held at third as Bourne gets the throw in. Neuenhuis wasn't sure, didn't have a good read, and so he's not able to score. And the Mets have first and third and 1 out.
To see a lot of base runners today well, Neuenhuis is off the gun. He didn't hesitate. But we see a lot of not knowing where the out. Well, yes, he did. And it's just, you got to have a better read than that.
Kelly Johnson announces the pinch hitter. Freddie Gonzalez on his way to the mound. And he's going to take out Weber and bring the lefty into the game. And we'll see how the Mets respond. They'll respond with Michael Kadire. So Kadire for Johnson for Nice to face Marksberry. This call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. That's down a run on the 7th. We'll be right back. to get a little information about Matt Marksberry.
Oh, David's only faced him once. He just probably, but that's enough. What's he got? He's sinker, slider. Tell me. Don't be too detailed. No details. Sinker, slider. Does he throw hard?
Dyer's playing time has been very limited of late because of wrist tendonitis. He's had one at bat, had an infield hit night before last.
2 days in a row now, 3 days in a row now for Marksberry. Got a funky motion.
Dyer batting with the tying run at third, Neuenhuis. The go-ahead run at first, Plawecki. Mets down 3-2 in the seventh. And the breaking ball, and he went around on the half swing, and it's 1-1.
Got to get. Well,
Dyer has been incredibly successful as a pinch hitter for a guy who plays every day, or has played every day throughout his career. And that one skips away to the backstop, or did it hit him? It hit him, and so Neuenhuis will have to go back to third. So the bases will be loaded. Dead ball on the hit batsman. No advance. So Dyer hit on the leg. That's the third Met to be hit on the leg by a pitch in this game.
Back leg.
Duda and Granderson were hit earlier, and now Granderson will bat against the lefty with the bases loaded and one out. Neuenhuis at third, Plawecki at second, Dyer at first.
Curtis is always a tough out when men are on base. He hasn't had a lot of success against the lefties this year, under 200. And a tough guy to double up, and that's in at the corners, sort of semi in at the corners for the Braves, and back for two in the middle infielders.
Well, one of the reasons Granderson grounds into so few double plays is he hits so few ground balls. He is a fly ball hitter. Ryan Weber hoping that Marksberry can get the job done and hold his lead. Bases loaded, one out. And Granderson lays off the breaking ball in the dirt. Ball one.
Curtis gets he knows in tight situations, he really waits. And really all you need here is a fly ball to tie the ball game. You certainly want to get a base hit and put your club ahead.
Mets is a team this year hitting .343 with the bases loaded. And Granderson pulls one through the hole, a base hit. Neuenhuis is in. Here comes Plawecki. The throw by Markakis to the plate. Not in time. The Mets have the lead. And runners are at second and third. Curtis Granderson with a two-run single to put the Mets in front 4-3.
Clutch out, Curtis. Markakis is just having a horrific defensive series here. Nice hitting fastball out over the plate in the hole. Markakis overthrowing the cutoff man, allowing everybody. Look at where's Freddie Freeman.
I think he could have cut it off and he let it go.
What's he backing up for? You never back up. Infield in, by the way. Now Tuffle playing very aggressive here. Way to go, Timmy.
Murphy the batter, and he takes the breaking ball out of the strike zone. Ball one.
What was Freeman backing up for? You never back up.
That enabled Granderson to go to second on the throw to the plate. And Dyer at third. And Murphy takes a strike, 1-1.
Gary, even if you feel the throws over your head, it's what good are you doing back there? That's just not a good play. And plus it just gives the green light to Granderson and nobody can advance.
Fly ball down the left field line. Garcia watches it go into the stands. Now explain, why is it not a good thing to back up if you're the first baseman cutting off?
Well, if you backed up within 20 feet of home plate, correct? Easily. What good you doing there? You're going to cut it off. By the time you get the ball down there, the runner's going to. You can't throw out Granderson. The ball's over your head, and nothing you can do.
So you're saying the throw from where he ended up would have been too far to try and get Granderson at second.
Oh, and he had too much time in between.
1-2 to Murphy. Takes it in the dirt. Bethencourt smothers it.
Well, let's take a peek here. You're cut off. You want to come on the cut of the grass for the relay. Keep your eye on Freeman on your right of your screen. That's fine. But he keeps backing up. I don't. So you just stay, you hold. The ball's over your head, nothing you can do about it. Not a good play.
Infield in, 2-2 to Murphy, and he pops it up. Oliveira with a play in foul ground, and that's the second out. A big out for Marksberry. Murphy unable to get a run in. Now 2 out runners at second and third, and Duda comes up. A rare day that Terry Collins stacked 3 left-hand hitters in a row at the top of his lineup. Terry's usually vigilant about going left, right, left, but with Wright and Cespedes and d'Arnaud all getting the day off, his lineup today overloaded with lefties. So Marksberry facing 3 lefties in a row. Granderson got the 2-run hit against him. Murphy unable to get the job done. Now it's left to Duda. Lucas 0 for 2 and takes the curveball for a strike. All began with a walk to Neuenhuis by the starter Ryan Weber. A hit and run play on a ground out moved him to second. Plawecki singled. Kadire hit by a pitch, and then Granderson drove home a pair against Marksberry. Ball and a strike to Duda. Juan Uribe on deck. John Neese, who left for a pinch hitter, is now pitcher of record on the long side, with the Mets having taken the lead here in the 7th. Mets will have to figure out how to get 9 outs out of their bullpen on a day that Terry intends to stay away from Familia and Clippard. He knows Addison Reed is his closer today. How he gets to the 9th inning, I think, will be a batter by batter proposition. Kadire at third, Granderson at second, and 2 out. And again, Bethancourt down to smother that breaking ball in the dirt. A nice job this inning.
Good block. Boy, just reminds me so much of Sandy Alomar Jr. Same height, physique.
Braves can only hope he develops like Sandy. It was a tremendous piece for those 90s Indians teams. 2-2 to Duda, and the curveball fouled off. Might have broken his bat.
He did.
In fact, he did. Tomorrow night, the Mets return home. Start a 9-game homestand. Long road trip over. Mets and Marlins tomorrow night at Citi Field, with Logan Verrett getting the start. Our coverage begins at 6 o'clock tomorrow night right here on SNY. It'll be Verrett's second start, and if it's as good as the first one, the Mets will be thrilled. He was fantastic in a spot start in Colorado. 7th pitch of the at-bat coming from Marksberry to Duda. It's way up high, full count.
Well, this has been the Brave bullpen.
Marksberry's faced 3 batters, hit a batter, gave up a 2-run single, got Murphy for a big out, but he's still got 1 huge out to get here. Sugar Ray Maramone is up in the bullpen for the Braves. He made a start for Atlanta last week. 3-2 coming. And Duda foul tips it. It's held by Bethancourt for strike 3. And the inning is over. But the Mets grab the lead. A big hit for Curtis Granderson. Drives in the tying and go-ahead runs. 7th inning stretch, 4-3 New York. Is brought to you by Optimum, presenting Mets games in crystal clear HD. By Bob's Discount Furniture, home of the world-famous Bobopedic memory foam mattress. By your Tri-Honda dealer, proud sponsor of the New York Mets. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And by the NYCB family of banks. Is that good? Your People's United Bank starting pitchers today. John Neese left behind, but then while he was pinch hit for, the Mets took the lead, so he's now pitcher of record on the long side. Ryan Weber, his second big league start, pitched well, but is on the short end. Check out the Jets blog for a breakdown of today's Jets-Browns Week 1 matchup with insider info and opinion, plus all the locker room reactions and Todd Bowles' comments on the Jets blog featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Here's your line score brought to you by Budweiser. Mets led 2-0. Braves tied it up. Took the lead in the 6th. Mets regaining the lead in the 7th. And the Mets will turn to Tim Stauffer to make his Mets debut to try and hold that lead in the 7th.
Well, a late pickup, Stauffer. Well-traveled veteran. Journeyman, I guess. You see his numbers.
Tim Stauffer, who grew up in Saratoga Springs, New York, went to the University of Richmond. 10 years in the Padres organization before he landed with Minnesota this year. Struggled with the Twins. They released him. Mets signed him. Went to pitch in the minor leagues for the Mets. And when Carlos Torres strained his calf muscle, the Mets brought Stauffer up as a late September call-up. And now making his Mets debut today in a tight game in the 7th.
Well, that's one of the injuries that the Mets, it's kind of an overpassed. I mean, not overpassed, overlooked is Carlos Torres in that calf.
Daniel Castro leads off against Stauffer, and the letter high fastball for a strike. Stauffer was a starter for the last couple of seasons. That's lined over second base and a base hit. Just over Murphy and into right field. And Castro has a leadoff hit, his second of the day. So just like that, the Braves have the tying run aboard, and Freddie Freeman coming up.
Wind's picked up again, Gare. It's a little blustery.
So here's Freeman, who's 0 for 3 today, 3 for 13 in this series. And he drills one, and it's past the backhand of Murphy and into right field. Castro will go to third, and the Braves have runners at the corners with nobody out. I don't know how Murphy was trying to play that ball.
Just misplayed completely. No lateral movement. Opted for the backhand. Just not a good play. Watch. Murph, top of your screen. Ball's not hit hard. No movement. No lateral movement to his right. Should have been able to get in front.
The Mets have not played tremendous defense today by any means. Dudas had a rough day at first. Uribe made a key error in the last inning, and now Murphy flubs that one. And Stauffer in immediate trouble, first and third and nobody out. Adonis Garcia the batter. And he takes the sinker out of the strike zone for ball 1.
Do they roll that a base hit?
They have not ruled it anything yet.
We'll wait for the
and
ruling.
They just scored it a base hit. Craziness, huh?
Yeah, it is.
You might have noticed that there's something of a hometown scoring here. That if they can possibly give a Brave a base hit, they do it. They did it twice today with Markakis on plays that easily could have been scored errors. And now they do it with Freeman as well. 2-0 to Garcia. And he breaks his bat in a billion pieces as the ball skitters foul. There's one of them. The collecting kindling for a week.
That's off the end. And you have that, probably that coned out, inverted cone at the end of the bat. Yes. What do they call that? What's the word? Cupped. That's right. It's been so long since I played because I used a cupped bat. I certainly didn't go around saying inverted cone.
No, I don't think you did. Garcia hits the comebacker. Stauffer's going to go to second with it. Gets the out there. The relay by Tejada in time for the double play as the tying run comes home. Well, Stauffer had the option. Castro was breaking on contact, and rather than trying to pick off that tying run, he made sure he got 2 outs.
He could have gone home here, Garrett. It's really kind of an unselfish move here, really. He could have. He had the runner tied up. And that's a run that shouldn't have scored.
So no RBI for Garcia. 1-6-3 double play, and the Braves are back even at 4. Well, that's going to be an earned run, but it's one that certainly should not have been, because it's a play Murphy absolutely should have been able to at least knock down, if not make, and he played it properly. So 2 out and nobody on with a run home, and now Oliveira, who's 0 for 2 and a walk. So that gets Ryan Weber off the hook and takes John Neese out of the possibility of a win. And now it's strictly in the hands of the bullpens. And Stauffer comes inside and nicks Oliveira, and he'll go to first base. Well, 3 Mets have been hit in this game, and now a Brave is grazed by a pitch. So the go-ahead run at first with 2 out, and Andrelton Simmons coming up. And Bobby Parnell is the next man up in the Mets bullpen. Dan Worth has been working extensively with Parnell on the side since his last disappointing outing. And Dan reported that Bobby yesterday was popping it in his bullpen session. We'll see whether those efforts pay off. Simmons takes a curveball that bends over the plate. 0-1. Simmons 2 for 3 today. Drove in a run in the 3rd, scored a run in the 6th. Number out to Tejada, and he makes the flip to Murphy for the force play that ends the inning. Braves tie it up in the bottom of the 7th. We head to the 8th. That's 4. Braves 4. greasy food, this is the spot for you. The Varsity, it's an Atlanta institution. In fact, there are 6 locations around the Atlanta area for you to find the greasiest of food. And one in Athens to keep the freshman 15 on. And there is our favorite cow with the Hunter Pence eyes. The most popular way to follow the Mets' push to the postseason is with MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat for your smartphone or tablet now. Sugar Ray Marimone, and yes, that is his real name, will come on to pitch for the Braves in the 8th inning.
Well, what's there to say? The 5.91, 21 hits in 21 innings, 10 walks. It's a lot of men on base.
Juan Uribe leads off for the Mets in the 8th inning. Uribe 1 for 3, singled and scored back in the 2nd. This has not exactly been a gem for the Mets today, but they find themselves in a tie game in the 8th. Took a 2-0 lead, fell behind 3-2, went back out in front on a big hit by Curtis Granderson in the 7th. And so played some shoddy defense today. Uribe had a piece of that, made an error that led to the Braves taking the lead in the 6th. But here they are in the late innings where they have thrived recently. We gave you that stat earlier. 6 straight games the Mets have scored at least 3 runs from the 7th through the 9th. Well, they've already scored 2 in the 7th today. So they're poised to do it again. Michael Conforto on deck, then Kirk Neuenhuis. Marimone, native of Colombia, deals the 2-2, and the breaking ball sits high, full count. Marimone's 13th appearance for the Braves. 3-2 to the former Brave, Juan Uribe. And he fouls one back in our general direction. This marks the 27th straight road game in which the Mets have scored 3 or more runs. Moving in on a National League record. They're only 3 games away from that. Again, the 3-2. And again, Uribe fouls it back. Ryan Weber, the starter, went 6 1/3, allowed 4 runs, 5 hits. Matt Marksberry charged with just a hit and a hit batsman in 2/3 of an inning, but gave up the go-ahead hit. 3-2 again, and he struck him out with a curveball. So Marimone wins that battle from Uribe, 1 down in the 8th. Let's check in with the studio for another game break. Doug Williams, brought to you by Ford. Here's Michael Conforto, who delivered the big blow for the Mets today. A 2-run homer back in the 2nd, his 7th of the year. Conforto 1 for 3 on the day. He's grounded out in his 2 subsequent at bats.
Well, this is back in the 2nd inning. A little high, I think a changeup that he really waited on nicely and had tremendous exit velocity.
He tattooed it, is what you're trying to say. And Marimone throws him a looping curveball that misses, 2-1. Kirk Neuenhuis waiting on deck. That's 4 runs, 6 hits. The Braves 4 runs, 10 hits. He does not want to throw Conforto a fastball. At least he hasn't yet. Now he's behind on Conforto, 3-1. And he throws the fastball but misses badly, and that's ball 4. So the Mets have a 1-out base runner. Kirk Neuenhuis coming up. There's your Mets box score, brought to you by Heineken. Conforto the 2-run homer, Granderson the 2-run single, That's accounted for the Met runs today. Conforto's going to exit the game. Eric Young will run for him at first base, carrying the go-ahead run.
Good moves. Nice, those expanded rosters.
That's why EY is here. The Mets picked him up in a minor league deal with the Braves, for whom he played a lot of center field early in the season. And he is here strictly to run the bases, which he's done very well. Yesterday, scored the tying run, or the go-ahead run in the 9th inning after he ran for Travis d'Arnaud. And we'll see if he can get a read on Marimone and maybe swipe a base. With Neuenhuis at the plate. Kirk has doubled and walked today. He scored a run. He was caught trying to steal third back in the 2nd inning. Neuenhuis was. Mets are not a base stealing team. They're dead last in the National League, but Eric Young gives them a threat.
They've got a little more speed now with Young, obviously, and Neuenhuis.
Very aware of Young. Pretty good move there. Eric Young 2 years ago led the National League in stolen base for the Mets. Want Neuenhuis to take a pitch here, let him try and swipe one?
Yes.
Takes that pitch on the inside corner. He was jumping back from it. Ruben Tejada waiting on deck. He's trying to win this game without a bunch of their regulars. No David Wright, no Yoenis Cespedes, no Travis d'Arnaud, no Jeurys Familia, no Tyler Clippard. And trying to figure out a way to take this game and sweep a 4-game series. And that catches the corner to Neuenhuis. A changeup, and it's 0-2.
Not a real aggressive lead from Young at first base, Gary. Maybe he wants to leave the hole open for Neuenhuis. That is not a strong lead.
Was with the Braves the first part of the season. Maybe he knows more about Marimone than we do. And Marimone has shown a pretty good move.
He's actually doing a very good job of holding Young on. I know fans get flustered, but you know, this is a guy over there that could steal bags.
2 stolen bases against Marimone this year. 0-2 to Neuenhuis. Eric runs, the pitch in the dirt, the throw by Bethancourt is right on the money. But did he hold it? He did. And Young is out. Andrelton Simmons got the tag down, held on to the ball, and Bethancourt has thrown out his 2nd of the day.
A lot of that has to do with Marimone holding on and throwing over aggressively. Did he hang on to that ball? He sure did.
He snow-coned it, but was able to hang on.
He's clearly out.
So 2 out and nobody on. That was quite a throw by Bethancourt on a pitch in the dirt on his backhand. Don't see too many caught stealings on a ball like that. So 2 out and nobody on. Neuenhuis behind in the count, 1-2. And Kirk pops one up. Oliveira has room. Side retired. So the Mets play their pinch runner card, but Bethancourt able to throw out Eric Young with help from Andrelton Simmons. Still 4-4 in the 8th. The bottom of the 8th, but what a pickup and throw he made here.
There it is. Very nicely hung on to.
Tim Stauffer's second inning of relief, and Bethancourt trying to drop a bunt down with a rebate playing back. Eric Young stayed in the game in left field after pinch running for Michael Conforto. So Stauffer, who gave up the tying run in the 7th, should not have been. Stays on for the 8th. And Bethancourt grounds one toward the hole. Tejada with a jump throw, not nearly in time, and Bethancourt has an infield hit.
Bethancourt runs well for a catcher. Nice try by Ruben here, but just no chance.
With the left-hand hitter coming up, Terry Collins going to make a double switch. Juan Lagares is coming on the field.
I believe Eric Young is departing.
And I think Dario Alvarez is coming in the game. So Stauffer takes his exit after an inning plus. Pitching change brought to you by Empire City. 4-4 game in the 8th. We'll be right back to Turner Field. Michael Bourne gets the bunt down. Duda throws him out. Sacrifice moves the go-ahead run to second base. 3-4 on the sack. And now Bethancourt at second with one out.
Nice bunt. Perfect bunt. And I'll put Swisher up there, who is a better left-hand pitcher.
Kirk Neuenhuis moved from center field to left field. Juan Lagares came into play center on the double switch. He'll bat ninth. Dario Alvarez came on, threw one pitch to Bourne, got the sacrifice, and now he'll face the switch hitter Swisher.
And you see him. You face 5 batters, 4 left-handers, 1 right-hander. You can see no one's got a hit. Big strikeout of Bryce Harper in that series in Washington.
Swisher takes outside. Speaking of the Nationals, they have won this afternoon. They beat Miami 5-0 to snap their 5-game losing streak. So the Mets' magic number for the moment remains at 12. Swisher started the first 3 games of this series, 1 for 12 in the series so far, and knocked down out of the dirt by Plawecki. 2-0. Nick Markakis, another left-hand hitter on deck. That's why Alvarez is in the game at this point. Tim Stauffer went an inning plus, gave up 3 hits, one of which should never have been scored a hit, and that cost him an earned run. Now Alvarez behind 2-0. And there's a fastball for a strike. Terry Collins was saying of Dario Alvarez after his fine performance in the first game of this series that he's finally throwing his fastball, which he had not been when the Mets saw him before. And that one comes in and hits Swisher.
What, there's 5 hit batsmen today?
Well, 3 Mets were hit, and now 2 Braves have been hit in the last 2 innings. First Oliveira and now Swisher. And that fills an empty base and sets up a double play possibility. Painfully for Swisher. And Swisher's going to leave for a pinch runner, and Cameron Maybin is going to run for him. Maybin has been sitting out the entire series. He has a corneal abrasion. He's been having a nice year for the Braves, but he's been down for the better part of a week now because of an eye problem. Normally wears contact lenses, but has been wearing glasses for most of the week. So Bethancourt at second, Maybin, who can fly, is at first, and Nick Markakis looking to give the Braves the lead. Markakis 2 for 4, got credit for 2 infield hits early in the game, either one of which could have been scored in error. There have been several instances of that kind of hometown scoring today. And Alvarez misses outside for ball 1. Daniel Castro, right-hand batter, waiting on deck. And Markakis lifts it to left. That goes Neuenhuis, and that's the second out. Bethancourt fakes a go from second, but he's going nowhere. And so there are 2 down in the inning. So now does Alvarez get the right-hand batter? It appears he will.
Going to find out what he's made of and giving him every opportunity. It's nice when you got 9-game lead now. Washington winning.
Also a final at Yankee Stadium. Masahiro Tanaka and the Yankees shut out Toronto 5-0 to salvage the finale of that series and break the Yankees' 5-game losing streak, so they're now 3.5 behind. So here is Castro, who's had a good series. Remember, he had his first home run night before last. He's got 2 hits today, both to right field, and he scored 2 runs. 2 on and 2 out. And Castro takes it outside for ball 1. Braves now with 11 hits on the afternoon. Ball and a strike to Castro.
A little tardy on that one.
One coming, and Castro pulls it over the bag. That's a fair ball down the line, and the Braves will take the lead. Bethancourt is in, Maybin to third. It's an RBI single for Daniel Castro, his 3rd hit of the day, and the Braves go in front 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Well, this 22-year-old kid Castro has certainly had himself a fine series.
He sure has. Stays level with his swing there. Nicely done. Right down the line. Too much play. Just almost got the ump. One of these seesaw affairs. Maybin on the backside, but nice play by Neuenhuis throwing to second base and not allowing the runner to advance.
So a run is in. That run charged to Tim Stauffer. He's now pitcher of record on the short side. Freddie Freeman the batter, and he takes off the plate with a slider for ball 1. Freeman's 1 for 4 today. He hit the ball that went through Murphy for what was scored a base hit in the 7th, and that allowed the Braves to eventually tie the game. Now they've taken the lead in the 8th. A day that Terry Collins is trying to get through the game without using his primary relief pitchers, and it has cost him. Sometimes you've got to do that for the greater good.
The luxuries of a 9.5 game lead with 20 to play.
Alvarez hoping for a double play ball. And he throws the slider down. Stopped by Plawecki, 2-1. Adonis Garcia, right-hand batter on deck. Freeman with a check swing foul, and that enables Alvarez to get even 2-2. Alvarez came in with a runner at first and nobody out. Bourne sacrificed. He hit Swisher with a pitch. Retired Markakis for the second out. But then Castro with the RBI hit to put the Braves in front. First and third, 2 out. And Freeman lifts one to left. Neuenhuis ranging over. And having trouble with it, and it lands untouched.
Oh, wow.
And the Neuenhuis misjudged that ball so badly. And Freeman gets another life.
Neuenhuis, a reliable glove. The wind, just look at this, just took this away from him.
The wind's been blowing left to right most of the day. But for some reason, Kirk just didn't pick this ball up at all.
Well, he got it. It's the wind. Oh, boy. There goes your bat.
Guess he'll need a new one as the at-bat continues.
He's got plenty.
Well, the Mets have had a dreadful defensive day. This is a team that's been playing very well defensively of late, but this has been a real aberration today. So a new life for Freeman. 2-2 coming, and it's inside, full count. They'll get Castro on the move with 3-2 and 2 out. Three-2 from Alvarez to Freeman. And the slider misses for ball 4. And the bases are loaded. So Alvarez giving up a hit batsman, a single, and a walk now in 2/3 of an inning. Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30. All the action from week 1 of the NFL and all the baseball as well coming up on Geico Sports Night tonight at 10:30. Pitching change for the Mets, down 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th. Alvarez out. We'll be right back. Well, it's been 12 days since Bobby Parnell last went to the mound, and The Mets hope that Dan Warthen's been able to fix him in that period of time.
Well, that 12 days ago was September 1st as his last outing, and it wasn't a good one. And as you said earlier, Garrett, Dan Warthen said he had a really good side the other day, threw the dog out of the ball supposedly, and he's in here in a tight spot.
Coming with the bases loaded and 2 out, trying to keep this a 1-run game before the Mets come up in the 9th. Adonis Garcia, who hit an 8th inning 3-run homer last night, bats with the bases loaded in the 8th inning today. Garcia 2 for 4. He's driven in a run. And Parnell's first fastball is low and in, 93 miles an hour, and that in itself is a decent sign for Bobby. His velocity has been questionable coming back from Tommy John surgery. Garcia pops it up. In comes Granderson to call. Sliding, and he can't get it. He lost it in the sun. 2 runs will score. It's a base hit for Garcia. And the Braves tack on a couple of gift runs as the Mets circus on defense continues. The worst defensive game the Mets have played in a month and a half.
Thought he had it here. Murph peels away. He just lost it, and he has his glasses on. So it was a tough sun. And you're right, Gary. This is one the Mets haven't played in a long time.
So it's a base hit, aided by the sun. 2-run score on the play. Freeman winds up at third.
Charge to Alvarez.
And now Hector Olivera with runners at the corners. Well, Parnell did his job. He got a pop-up. And his fastball is looking like it has a lot more life, but Mets defense, no life today.
No, he just clearly lost it.
Well, it's been a sunny, windy day, and it's affected both sides. But it's affected the Mets more. Remember the last time Bobby went out there and he had that play at second base where Tejada was late covering and he threw it into center field?
Yes.
It seems like bad things are happening to Bobby right now.
And he threw away strike 3 right there to end the inning. He threw away the bunt too. Remember his last outing?
Oliveira strikes out, inning over, but damage done. 3 runs for the Braves in the 8th inning. 7-4 going to the 9th. Bourne moves from center field to left field. Cameron Maybin, who pinch ran, stays in the game in center. And Peter Moylan, who hasn't had a save since 2012, will try and secure one today.
Well, this is his third appearance in this series, and this is familiar ground for him, the submariner.
Yesterday he faced Cespedes with the bases loaded, and that was the fielder's choice that brought home a run in the ninth. He'll face the lower third of the Mets order in the ninth. Tejada, Plawecki, and Lagares, and it doesn't look like Terry Collins, at least for the moment, is going to use his bench. He's got plenty of firepower on that bench with Wright and Darno and Cespedes. Tejada leads off, and he takes inside from Moylan for ball one. Tejada 1 for 3 today. Last time up on a hit and run play, he was robbed by Oliveira. Made a nice play at third. And he takes a strike. Chevrolet Marimon worked a hitless 8th. He's pitcher of record on the long side for Atlanta. Well, the Mets have had some unlikely comebacks this week.
And this would be enormous one. It's going to be tough. 6-game winning streak could come to an end. A road trip that started out 1-2, and you wind up winning what, 6 out of the next 7. They'll take it. And the increase, of course, in the lead.
One-two to Tejada, and he pulls one foul. You mentioned Moylan's last save was in 2012. It was actually against the Mets at Citi Field, September of 2012. Before his latest arm problems surfaced, he's had everything wrong.
Yes.
Labrum, rotator cuff, Tommy John surgery. He's pitched very little in the last 4 or 5 years. But at age 36, trying to notch a save today. And Tejada takes on the outside corner, strike 3 call. So Moylan has a strikeout to start the ninth.
Slider.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Kevin Plawecki, who has a single and a walk today, he's scored a run. We asked our trivia question very early in the game. We're answering it very late in the game.
I forgot it.
Most walks in a season is John Olerud.
Oh.
He had 125 walks. The only Met ever to walk 100 times in a season. That was the year after he hit 354.
He was quite a player, wasn't he?
Yes, he was.
Could play defense too.
Terrific hitter, good glove.
The only thing that you can say, he wasn't a great runner, but shoot, he could hit in the clutch.
Very slow, and yet I saw him hit for the cycle.
Good guy too.
Very quiet guy, but with a very understated sense of humor.
I remember Bobby Valentine in spring had me and said, go out, take ground balls, and just give him a couple pointers if you think he needs anything. So I went out there and took some ground balls, and I just looked at him. I said, there's nothing I can tell you. You know what you're doing.
Very smooth. 1-2 coming, and a check swing. Did he go? He went around. Back-to-back strikeouts for Moylan, and the Mets are down to their final out of the afternoon. So Moylan has struck out the first 2. Now Juan Lagares, the final hope for New York. The Mets were very blessed after you left. You know, they had a number of good first basemen. They had Rico Brogna. They had David Segui.
Yes.
And Olerud, all of whom, you know, were not quite you, but they were pretty good.
Of the 3, who do you thought was the best?
Defensively?
Yeah.
I think Segui, but he wasn't there very long. What do you think?
I thought Olerud.
Yeah. I mean, we saw a lot more of Olerud.
And that's not disparaging any of them. They were all good.
One to Lagares. And then we got to watch Jason Phillips.
Remember that? And then remember Piazza's foray to first base?
Wow.
Poor Mike.
foul. And that'll go into the seats. But Phillips had a style all his own. He would flop all over the place.
He didn't know what he was doing.
Of course he did.
Lucky he didn't rip a.
But he was fun. He was fun to watch. Mets are down to their final strike in this Atlanta crowd that's had so little to root for. Urging the Braves on the verge of snapping an 11-game home losing streak, their longest since 1931 when they played in Boston. Lagares will make them wait. That's 84 years ago.
Yes, it's a
long time.
That's like Grandpa.
Great grandpa. Back in the old country. Boston. 1-2. Lagares still in there. Curtis Granderson hoping for a turn on deck. Mets had the early lead in this game, 2-0 on a Michael Conforto home run. Braves went ahead in the 6th. Mets regained the lead in the 7th. But the Braves with a run in the 7th and 3 in the 8th against the makeshift part of the Mets bullpen. Now poised for a win. One-two to Lagares. And the breaking ball hit out to right center. Slicing away from Maben deep in the gap. He dives, but he can't make the catch. Lagares to second. He'll pull in there with a 2-out double. And the Mets have life in the 9th.
Boy, is that Markakis still out in right field?
Yes.
He has had a real tough day. I must say he's almost a terrific catch by Maben.
Well, Peter Moylan had the save opportunity, but he's going to have it taken away from him. Couldn't retire Lagares, so with the left-hand hitters coming up, Granderson, Murphy, Duda, they'll bring in the left-hander to try and close it out. We'll see how that works out for Freddie Gonzalez. Mets try to rally with 2 out in the 9th, down 7-4. We'll be right back to Atlanta. Ryan Kelly, a right-hander, to face Curtis Granderson.
Well, I don't think he trusts his left-handers. A, talking about Freddie Gonzalez, the manager of the Braves. B, Moylan's a submariner. It's a little easier for left-hand hitters on right-hand submariners. So he's going to go with the conventional right-hander.
Kelly's third appearance in the series. He had 23 saves in 2 minor league stops this year, bidding here for his first major league save. Lagares at second and 2 out. Granderson, a 2-run single in the 7th, gave the Mets a brief lead. Now he tries to keep them alive in the 9th with Murphy on deck. And Curtis takes outside for ball 1.
One thing you don't want to do is walk someone when the Curtis cannot beat you.
Well, Kelly, when he came in his first appearance in the series, walked 2 batters and then gave up a big 2-run double to Juan Uribe. That helped the Mets to their Thursday night win. And now he's behind 2-0. He was better yesterday, faced 3 batters, got 3 fly ball outs. But being put in a situation now where he's trying to secure his first big league save against a team that has great confidence in its ability to come from behind with their backs against the wall.
Uh-oh, the Met chant.
Two and 0 to Granderson. And there's ball 3.
Oh, my goodness.
27-year-old Ryan Kelly. Just his 15th major league appearance. Granderson trying to get on base to get the tying run to bat. He takes a strike, 3-1. Lagares at second, 2 out. And Granderson takes ball 4, and Murphy won't come to bat as the tying run.
Throws a slider. Are you kidding me?
Well, even in a game the Mets have tried their hardest to give away, they still got a chance with 2 out in the 9th. And Roger McDowell will go out and talk with his rookie right-hander.
Oh, it missed. Not by much, but you throwing a 3-1 slider. Ahead by 3 runs.
Well, where Granderson can't beat you, that's
just, it's just, you got to, oh, dear. Gosh.
Hang in there.
I'm an everyday player. I'm hot. It's like, come on. Got 8 gloves out there. You might make a play behind you.
So here's Murphy, who's had a rough day at the plate and in the field. 0 for 4 at bat. He's the tying run at the plate with the Mets down 7-4 in the 9th. Lagares and Granderson aboard. If Murphy can keep it going, Lucas Duda would be next. And Murphy takes a strike. Eddie Gonzalez hoping somebody in this beleaguered Atlanta bullpen can get him the final out, and hoping that man can be Ryan Kelly. And Murphy drives one deep right center field, headed back toward the wall. That ball is out of here. Daniel Murphy ties it. A 3-run homer in the top of the 9th, and the Mets get even at 7. You've got to be kidding me. This team just doesn't know how to lose. Daniel Murphy's 11th home run of the year, with the Mets with their backs against the wall after 2 out and nobody on in the 9th. A double, a walk, and a Daniel Murphy 3-run homer, and the Mets are back even.
Oh, man. Are you kidding me?
The Mets have tried all day to give this game away to the Atlanta Braves, and they just refuse to lose.
Oh, my goodness. Daniel, clutch out. 390 out there, folks.
Wow, wow. Here's Duda.
Oh, just a nothing slider.
Reminds you of the 9th inning home run he hit in Florida earlier this year, when he brought the Mets from behind.
Wow. Inspirational, inspired team.
Rough day, turned around with one swing for Daniel Murphy. 0-2 now to Duda. And he pops one up. May have been looking through the sunshine, trying to stay with it, and does to end the inning. The Mets tie it up in unlikely fashion. Murphy with the 3-run bomb, 7-7 in the ninth. Wasn't there.
Oh, just a nothing slider. Murph with the full follow through, almost like a golfer. And that with the teeth of the wind, not really the teeth of the wind, but that strong wind blowing from left field to right field. He crushed it. 390 out there.
You want to beat this team right now, you better stab them through the heart and make sure, because they just are not going easily. Bobby Parnell, who got the final out in the 8th inning after giving up the Sun-aided 2-run single that stretched the Atlanta lead to 3, will face Andrelton Simmons leading off in the bottom of the 9th. Simmons 2 for 4 today. And he breaks his bat as he grounds one to short. Tejada on the backhand. 1 pitch and 1 out for Parnell in the bottom of the 9th. Now it's Christian Bethancourt, who had an infield hit and scored the go-ahead run for the Braves in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets 7 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, although they could have been charged with about 6. The Braves 7 runs, 13 hits, and no errors. Mets were up 2-0, down 3-2, up 4-3, down 7-4, and then Murphy tied it in the top of the 9th. And a call strike to Bethancourt.
And the shadows are starting to creep. If we get into extra innings, it's going to be very favorable for the pitchers.
Slow ground ball for Tejada. He hurries in and guns down Bethancourt 2 away. So 3 pitches. Parnell gets 2 ground ball outs. If we do go to extra innings, the dilemma for Terry Collins is going to be who to use. He's already used Stauffer, Alvarez, and Parnell, trying to stay away from his big guys today. If you get a longer game,
well, he's got the left
more problematic.
He's got Gil Martin, who we said he wanted to use today. you've also got Goodell and O'Flaherty.
There's Eric O'Flaherty up now, and he will save Addison Reed for a possible closer situation. Michael Bourne, the batter, 1 for 2 with a sacrifice fly and a sacrifice bunt. Cameron Maybin's batting 9th in the order. He's on deck.
As bad as this Brave ball club is, it's still remarkable what this Met team is doing, Gary.
Well, especially today. I mean, staying away from so many of their best players. So far, we haven't seen Cespedes, Wright, d'Arnaud, Familia, or Clippard, and yet the Mets somehow are tied up in the 9th inning. One and 1 to Bourne. Bobby sells that one away. You have to say, Parnell looks a lot crisper now than he has in his most recent outings. Certainly, he's got a little better velocity on his fastball. 12 days since he last pitched, when he had his head in his hands at Citi Field. And Bourne grounds one right at Murphy, down to a knee to make sure, and we're going to extra innings in Atlanta. To the 10th, Mets and Braves tied at 7. Innings on SNY is brought to you by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for offers on their most exciting lineup ever. Shop ChooseNissan.com. Well, in this crazy game, the Mets and Braves are going to the 10th inning, tied 7-7. Edwin Jackson will be the 6th Atlanta pitcher of the afternoon.
Third time he's appeared in this series, each for an inning, and each time he's given up a run, and that's be very nice if he'd accommodate the Mets.
Mets were down to their final out with nobody on base, down by 3 runs. Juan Lagares doubled just beyond the reach of Cameron Maybin. Curtis Granderson walked, and Daniel Murphy hit a 3-run homer to tie the game. Bobby Parnell worked a 1-2-3 bottom of the 9th, and here we are in the 10th with Juan Uribe to lead off. 1 for 4 on the day. Singleton scored back in the 2nd. Uribe lays off ball 1, and now those shadows starting to become an issue. Just now reaching home plate.
Just around another 10 minutes.
Uribe flies one down the right field line and foul. Beyond anybody's reach. 1-1. Mets are 8-6 in extra inning games this year. They lost an extra inning game in Miami at the start of this road trip. Braves are 4-8 in extra innings this year. Mets lost 2 out of 3 in Miami, both on walk-offs to start this road trip before winning the last 6. And they look like they were cooked today, but not done yet. Uribe swings through it. 1-2. Pitcher spot due up next, and Yoenis Cespedes has come out on deck to be a pinch hitter. Don't touch that dial.
No.
Will pop up behind shortstop, and Simmons goes back and puts it away for the first out.
Okay, if he does a home run, hits a home run here, Gary, I'm going to put him up there on Olympus with Zeus and Poseidon, Ares, Diana, Hera. This is
Cespedes yesterday in his 34th home run of the year, his 16th in the last 29 games, on a tear for the ages. Batting against Edwin Jackson in the 10th inning, and takes a slider for a strike.
That was last night off the same guy, and a hanging slider. That was 16 as a Met.
Cespedes now with 77 extra base hits for the year. Writing a story that is not to be believed. Kind of like this game. 1-1 from Jackson. And it's up and in. 2-1. Jackson knows he has to be careful with Cespedes. Neuenhuis on deck, Tejada behind him. There's plenty of other firepower in that Mets dugout, though. Flores and Wright and Darno all available. 2-1 coming. Oh, good slider by Jackson. 2-2.
Good slider. Interesting the habits of Cespedes. He swings and misses and falls over towards home plate, and he kind of gets his balance on the other side and taps his bat on his cleats, then gets back on the box.
Cespedes for the rest of us. T-shirts.
Okay, Jerry.
Does he get royalties for that? 2-2 coming, and Cespedes goes down on strikes. Good job by Jackson. Set him up with a slider, struck him out with a fastball away. 2 out.
Upstairs too.
So he's human, is what you're trying to say.
Well, you know, he's failed around 65% of the time so far, you know.
Doesn't seem that way. Here's Neuenhuis. 1 for 3 and a walk today, a double back in the 2nd inning. And the breaking ball at his feet for ball 1. Well, what did we say about the Mets in late innings? 3 or more runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. They've done it for the 7th straight game. It was already a club record at 6. 7 straight games they've scored 3 or more runs from the 7th through the 9th.
Well, championship teams do that, don't they?
It's looking like one, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean, not for most of today. For most of today, they've looked like a second division team in your parlance.
And they still managed to get back in it. Murph with the clutch 3-run home run. 2 outs in the 9th. A 2-out rally here. Nobody on.
2 out and nobody on after 2 strikeouts from Moylan to start that 9th inning. And, you know, this is what happens with good teams, too. How close did Cameron Maybin come to catching that double by Lagares that would have ended the game?
Well, there's so many things. Granderson losing that ball in the sun.
Right.
Markakis misjudging a ball. It's been a very poorly played game defensively from both sides today.
Due to allowing the foul pop to drop. Neuenhuis misjudging a ball that fell foul. Been a lot of that. Murphy. And that's ball 4, and Neuenhuis is aboard. So a 2-out walk to Kirk. This is how close the Braves came to winning. If that ball sticks in Maybin's glove, the game's over.
Close but no cigar, Gare.
So it trickles out. Lagares had a double, and the Mets were off and running in the ninth. Now Neuenhuis at first with 2 out. Now Bethancourt has already thrown out 2 base runners trying to steal today, including Neuenhuis trying to steal third in the second inning. But you have to figure this is a situation where you'd love to be able to steal a base. Edwin Jackson released by the Cubs, picked up by the Braves, who've run through 36 pitchers this year. Throws up and in to Tejada, ball 1. Rubin today 1 for 4, singled back in the 4th, struck out his last time up to start the 9th against Moylan. Diving back. The Cardinals have won. Michael Wacha got his 16th win today. Matt Adams hit a home run. Oh, they're happy to have him back. So it's just the 3rd win in the last 11 games for the suddenly struggling Cardinals. Meanwhile, the Pirates, who were down big early, have tied up the Brewers 6-6. They're now in the 9th. Gets jammed and fouls it back 1-1. And the Cubs lost today. They lost in Philadelphia for the 2nd straight day, 7-4. Ryan Howard, who snapped an 0 for 35 last night, hit a home run today for the Phillies. Cody Ashe hit the walk-off for Philadelphia last night, so that puts a crimp in the Cubs. Jackson really paying a lot of attention to Neuenhuis. Giants have the early lead on the Padres 4-3 after Madison Bumgarner nearly threw a perfect game last night. 7 2/3 perfect before Melvin Upton broke it up. Bumgarner finished with a 1-hitter.
Too many of those for my liking.
Perfect games?
Yeah, today's game. No hitters in perfect games. Too many. I'm a hitter.
Looped the other way by Tejada, and that's going to fall for a base hit. Neuenhuis will go first to third. Takes a turn and he'll go back to the bag. So Tejada dumps one into right field, and now the Mets have the time-breaking run at third with 2 out.
Little fisted off the end of the bat. Texas Leaguer. Base hit away. 2 outs. Neuenhuis on his horse. Mets are a base hit away, taking a lead. Plawecki.
He had a mind to try and come the distance.
I think everybody wants to get home. It's been a long road trip.
So the Mets, who struck after 2 out and nobody on in the 9th, trying to do the same in the 10th. A walk and a blue pit. And now Plawecki will try and get Neuenhuis home. Evans 1 for 3 today. And he takes a slider off the plate for ball 1.
Playing him to the opposite field, center field and right only. And a big gap in left center. And up the middle, too. Played him on a pull on the infield.
Shadow right between the mound and home plate, and Plawecki pulls it down to third, and Oliveira able to snag it, and the wide throw, and he's safe, and the go-ahead run scores. Castro came off the bag. Neuenhuis scores, and the Mets lead at 8-7 in the 10th.
Oh my word! You're living right.
Plawecki hit it hard. Oliveira made a terrific stop, but then a wide throw, and Castro couldn't keep his foot on the bag. Freddie Gonzalez is asking the umpires to review it.
Yeah,
and we'll see. But for the moment, the Mets have themselves the lead in the 10th inning.
Beautiful play. And a bum throw.
Castro did all he could to stretch and stay on the bag. Did he?
No. What do you think, Garrett?
I couldn't quite tell because I didn't see when the ball went in his glove on the monitor we have. And we'll see what the umpires think back in Chelsea. Can you see where the ball hit his glove?
He's off
there?
the base.
Was he off when the ball hit the glove?
I think the umpire had it
Here
right.
we go. Let's see here. Yeah, he's off the base.
Okay. Yes, he is. No question.
Off the base.
No question.
Play under review brought to you by Mazda. Driving matters. Wow. What a crazy, crazy game this has been. Mets rallied after 2 out and nobody out in the 9th. Got the 3-run homer from Murphy to tie. And then after 2 out and nobody on in the 10th, a walk, a bloop hit, and now an error on Oliveira, giving the Mets the lead. And it's quite clear that Castro's foot was not on the bag when the ball hit the glove. And the Met fans in attendance, as they watch it on the big board out in center field, giving a big round of applause as they see that this call is going to be upheld. And it is. The umpires confirm the call, and the Mets have the lead.
Now, remember, no Familia coming in to save this game.
Probably Eric Goodell.
Yep, I would think.
No, Addison Reed. That's right.
Oh, that's right. Reed's
He
been
saved Reed to be the closer today. So it will be Reed, who is up right now in the bullpen.
And Parnell, a chance to get the W.
Yeah. And, you know, Bobby got victimized in the bottom of the 8th on that Sun-aided base hit, but did a great job in the 9th. And certainly deserving of a win today. Mets will look to add some more here. Lagares, who got the comeback started with the 2-out double in the 9th, now bats with 2 out and 2 on in the 10th with the Mets up 8-7. Second at bat of the day for Lagares. And Jackson throws a fastball for a strike. Tejada now at second. Plawecki at first.
This is just unbelievable what's going on.
Well, you got a team that just can't lose right now against a team that just can't win. And it's playing out as it has in every game in this series.
Nice run out there to drive in. Nice insurance run.
In the bottom of the 10th, the Braves will have 9, 1, and 2 in the order. Maben, Markakis, and Castro due up, with Freeman if anybody gets on. That would be tough to see right now in the shadows, don't you think?
Yes. Now their shadows are out enough where it's going to be difficult. Braves are going to have in their bottom half of the order the 9, 1, 2.
Two and 1 to Lagares with Granderson on deck and time asked for. And Lagares lays off. And he stopped it in time, and now it's 3 and 1. Well, each team officially has been charged with only 1 error in this game, but it has been something of a comedy of errors. But all the Mets know is that they have the lead in the 10th. And now a 3 and 1 count to Lagares with 2 on. And Juan takes it low, ball 4, and rare walk for Lagares. And now the Mets have the bases loaded for Granderson, and a chance to greatly increase their lead. Second walk of the inning for Jackson, who retired the first 2 hitters before he walked Neuenhuis. And now he issues another walk to load him up for Granderson.
And Granderson in the 7th inning had a big base hit, 2 RBI base hit. And that was off the left-hander, Marksberry.
Granderson against Edwin Jackson, 5 for 16 with a home run in his career. He's been on base his last 3 plate appearances. Tejada, Plawecki, and Lagares, the base runners, with 2 out. And Curtis takes a curveball for a strike. Granderson was hit by a pitch in the 5th, had that 2-run hit in the 7th, and then walked and scored in front of Murphy's home run in the 9th. by 1-1.
This is painful to watch. Just such a bad bullpen.
One from Jackson. Ball 2. Well, when we got to the 9th, in recent days, Freddie Gonzalez had a closer who at least looked like he could trust in Arodys Vizcaino. But the Mets beat up Vizcaino so badly the last couple of days, he didn't go to him when he had a lead in the 9th. Used Moylan, and then Kelly couldn't get it done, and now Jackson has given up a run in the 10th. And there's ball 3, and Bethencourt had to pull that one out of the dirt. Now it's 3-1 to Granderson.
Oh, he's got to put one right down the old piperoni, as I like to say.
Granderson's got to be salivating here. 3-1 coming from Jackson with the bases loaded. And there's ball 4, and it forces in a run.
Wow.
And it's 9-7 New York. Granderson draws the bases loaded walk, his 3rd RBI of the day, and the Mets have a 2-run lead in the 10th inning.
Folks, here comes Freddie Gonzalez. I just want to remind you, we're in Atlanta. We're not in Spartansville or Lakeland watching an A-ball game.
Well, we've seen a lot of this lately, haven't we?
Jeez.
Jackson walks 3 in the inning. Mets lead 9-7. We'll be right back to Atlanta.
Wow.
For the Braves.
Sound like Barbara Wawa. That's a tough one to pronounce.
Danny went to Rocky Point High School, made 1 appearance for the Yankees earlier this year. They let him go on waivers. Braves picked him up in mid-August, and now he will make his 5th appearance for the Braves. Edwin Jackson, the veteran, retired the first 2, but could not get out of the inning. 2 runs are home, and now Daniel Murphy, who got us here with a 3-run homer in the top of the 9th, will bat with the bases loaded on the top of the 10th. This is just an unbelievably poor display of relief pitching. We've seen it for 4 days from this team.
It's just been one of those games. The pitching's awful, and you have the games in the field. There's been bad play in the field. This has been, both teams have been flushed.
But the Mets able to take advantage, and again, the Mets just can't lose right now, and the Braves just can't win. And now it's 2-0 to Murphy with the bases full. Murphy, the 8th man up in the inning. Duda is on deck. And Barala not providing much help yet. He is the 7th Atlanta pitcher to work. The starter, Ryan Weber, did pretty well for 6 1/3. He wound up getting charged with 4 runs, but not bad for his second big league start.
Oh,
my 3.
God. Excuse me, folks. Forgive me. This is just Major League Baseball. Wow.
Three 3-0 to Murphy. Here's a strike. 3-1.
Well, this is another very lovely pitch to hit. Don't try to do too much with it.
Milwaukee at third, Lagares at second, Granderson at first with 2 out. 3-1 to Murphy. And Daniel takes ball 4, and it forces in another run. 10-7 New York. Second consecutive bases loaded walk. This one issued by Barala.
I would turn in my season tickets.
So the Mets with 3 in the 9th and now 3 in the 10th. Murphy's driven in 4 of those runs. And now Duda will be the 9th man up in the inning. Duda's 0 for 4. He's been hit by a pitch. And he bounces one on the right side. Castro makes the play, and the inning comes to an end. But the Mets score 3 unearned runs in the top of the 10th inning and remarkably take a 10-7 lead into the bottom of the 10th. Extraordinary. The Mets were down to their final out with nobody on, down by 3 runs in the 9th. Daniel Murphy wound up hitting a 3-run homer, and the Mets have just scored 3 in the 10th with only 1 base hit, an error, a couple of bases loaded walks. And we've seen it throughout this series, the Braves relief pitching, and we've seen it from a number of teams recently, this dearth of pitching once you get beyond the starting pitchers or the closers.
Well, you've got a second division team out there that's playing it out, and it's really a tryout camp here. It's a lot. It's not just young kids coming up in September. There's a lot of veterans here, and this not throwing strikes. It just I can't fathom it, and you haven't got a chance if you walk people. I don't know how to put my put my finger on this, but it's not Major League Baseball. And I almost think, Gary, that pitchers try to trick people, with breaking stuff instead of coming after hitters. And then if you haven't got the talent to do that, you're going to find yourself in the breadline somewhere, getting a job somewhere else. I mean, that was just disgraceful what I just saw. It's not Major League Baseball. I know that's not a great explanation, but it's.
Meanwhile, Addison Reed making his third appearance of the series for the Mets, and he has looked very good since coming over from Arizona, to the point where Terry Collins yesterday described Reed as electric. He said he's gotten much more out of Reed than he would have expected based on the scouting reports he got. He promptly strikes out Cameron Maben to start the bottom of the 10th.
Well, he's always had a good arm, Gary, and so I'm not surprised at the velocity of his fastball, and he seemed to have become more comfortable, and he's put himself in the hunt here.
Well, he was brought here to be the 7th inning guy because the Mets couldn't find one within their own bullpen, and he has apparently grabbed that rein, and he's going to keep it. Tejada had the backhand, and it goes right under his glove, and Markakis is aboard. And if they give him another hit, I'm going to scream. They've already given him 2 hits he didn't deserve. They're going to give him a third?
Yeah.
It's right under Tejada's glove.
Don't scream. Tell me you're not going to scream.
Well, I want to see the call first.
Base hit.
Come on.
Base hit.
We're waiting. Oh, he's 6. See? I don't have to scream.
You don't have to be shrill.
Well, it's just that the Mets have made probably 7 errors today, and that's only the second one they've been charged with. Now Daniel Castro, so the Braves trying to fight fire with fire. Castro has 3 hits today. He drove in the go-ahead run for the Braves in the bottom of the 8th with a base hit against Dario Alvarez. And now batting in the bottom of the 10th, trying to get the tying run to the plate with Freddie Freeman on deck. Ball and a strike to Castro. Castro's in a good series, 5 hits and 9 at bats, including a home run. A 22-year-old out of the Mexican League has acquitted himself nicely. 1-1 coming, and he popped it up. Who's going to take it? Murphy's got it. 2 out.
Interesting note here, Gary. In 1960, now granted, there wasn't as many teams as there are now, so take that in consideration. But look, this number 12 relief pitchers had 50 or more appearances. That's both leagues. That's extraordinary.
Well, in those days, pitchers were expected to pitch 9 innings, and
so my point is that today's game, last year, 145 relievers have pitched 50 or more. Now there's more teams and there's more reliance on bullpen.
Right. I think it's much more about the fact that you have 12-man staffs, and the 11th and 12th guys on your staff are getting a lot of innings, whereas it used to be you threw out 4 starters and a couple of relievers.
Are we talking 7 in a row here?
Freeman lines one to right. Granderson is there, and the ball game is over. And the Mets win their 7th in a row, and in more unlikely fashion than ever. They rally for 3 in the 9th and 3 in the 10th, and they win to sweep a 4-game series in Atlanta for the first time since 1985. Just a ridiculous game that the Mets win in 10 innings, 10-7, to clinch a winning record for the first time since 2008.
Well, as stinky as this game was, the Mets did not succumb. Daniel Murphy clutching out with the 3-run home run in the top of the 9th inning. A 2-out rally with nobody on, by the way. The 3-run shot ties. So the Mets were not sunk, were not brought down by this poor play today. It was just one of those games from both sides.
Terry stayed away from David Wright. He stayed away from Travis d'Arnaud. He used Cespedes for just 1 at bat. He stayed away from his top 2 relievers. And the Mets still get the win. Despite playing some dreadful defense at times, they beat the Braves in 10 innings, 10-7. Daniel Murphy, the hero, with the 3-run tying home run. And then the Mets scratch out 3 runs in the 10th to win the game. For every Mets win, the Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to the Cats Women's Hospital and the Cats Institute for Women's Health. For more information, visit northshorelij.com/KIWH. This win brings the total contribution so far this season to $202,500. Final score in 10, the Mets 10, the Braves 7. Mets finished their road trip 8-2. Their magic number is down to 11. Wayne Garrett. And they maintain their 9.5 game lead over the Nats in the National League East. Tomorrow the Mets are home to take on the Miami Marlins. Logan Verrett gets the start tomorrow night against Justin Nicolino. We're on the air with our coverage on SNY tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Now for Keith Hernandez, Steve Gelbs, and our entire SNY crew, I'm Gary Cohen in Atlanta. Time for WB Mason post-game live. Let's join Doug Williams and Jim Duquette in the studio. Take it away, guys.